Chapter 1490. You know my mother, who the hell are you? The shrill voice became a little clearer, but it still carried a hint of fear. Sure enough, Ning Qing didn't guess wrong. With a snort, he casually swept up a surging Dao charm. After he smashed the severing thought platform, the reincarnation passage began to crack. Kaka sounds emerged, and the Dao charm in the passage began to shatter, causing everything to collapse. Stop. The trembling voice turned sharp again. Not only was it sharp, but it was also filled with fear. Stop. Ning Qing sneered. No matter who the other party was to Shi Qionghua, he wouldn't stop even if he destroyed Shi Qionghua's spirit soul and turned her into a statue. Boom boom. The collapse of the reincarnation passage grew more and more intense. At this moment, not only did the Dao charm dissipate, but the passage also collapsed. Even the laws within it began to shatter. Please spare me. Leave my 9 revolving sacred Dao pond lineage. The voice knew that her strength was too far from Ning Cheng's and started to beg for mercy. Ning Cheng could clearly see that this remnant soul was hiding in a bronze mirror. Spare her. Ning Cheng not only wanted to destroy the 9 revolving sacred Dao Pond's reincarnation passage, but he also wanted to destroy this mirror and the remnant soul within it. Boom! Ning Cheng punched out again, and the passage next to the mirror shattered. The bronze mirror fell down and floated in the void. There was a horrified image in the bronze mirror, and the image seemed to be begging for mercy. Ning Cheng guessed that this mirror was most likely the 9 revolving sacred Dao Pond's weapon. Even if it was the 9 revolving sacred Dao Pond, he wouldn't care about it. He still raised his fist, and the Dao charm wrapped around it. He was about to punch out. Just when Ning Cheng's fist was about to hit the mirror, he suddenly stopped and looked behind him. Now that you're here, say what you want. I don't have time to talk to you. Thank you, Dao Lord Ning, for showing mercy. An anxious voice was heard, and a slender figure appeared after the voice. Shi Xiangjuan greets Dao Lord Ning. As soon as the figure landed on the ground, she bowed and greeted Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng just nodded casually and didn't speak any nonsense. If nothing had happened to Qionghua, he would have given Shi Xiangjuan some face. But now that Shi Xiangjuan's illegitimate daughter turned Qionghua into a statue, how could he let it go? Even if Shi Xiangjuan came, he would still kill her. Shi Xiangjuan's realm hadn't changed, but Ning Cheng knew that her strength had more than doubled compared to when he first met her. Not only that, but the Dao charm around her had become more solid and clear, indicating that her future achievements would be even higher. It seemed that she had gained a lot in the chaotic inner realm. When Shi Xiangjuan saw Shi Qiionghua in Ning Cheng's hands, she instantly understood why Ning Cheng was so respectful towards her before, and even addressed her as senior. The reason why people respected her was not because of her, Shi Xiangjuan, but because her descendants had a relationship with Ning Cheng. Now that the descendant of the Shi clan, who had a relationship with Ning Cheng, was injured by his daughter, it would be strange if Ning Cheng let it go so easily. She had experienced the treasure hunt in the chaotic inner realm and had a clear understanding of Ning Cheng's situation in the chaotic inner realm. Not only did Ning Cheng snatch away a primordial Dao charm, but he also calmly retreated under the sneak attack of 4 peak powerhouses. Of. Lord Cheng, was that he? If she wanted to say. If Ning of Cheng, of. If he, if, in, and the woman, he, in. Ning Cheng was waiting for her to deal with this matter. If the woman in Ning Cheng's hand couldn't wake up, then no matter what Shi Tian has said, it would be useless. After the shadow in the mirror saw Shi Xiangjuan, it suddenly stopped trembling in fear. Instead, it screamed in a vague voice, "Am I too much? What did you do to me? I'm just a remnant of your greed for a night of pleasure. You abandoned me for the sake of the great Tao. If it weren't for the sake of making up for your guilt, would you have left the 9 revolutions sacred Dao Pond to me? I swear that one day, I will tell you that no one cares about me. I can still step onto the supreme great Tao." Because of the excitement, the figure in the mirror became blurrier. Shi Xiangjuan's face turned pale. She raised her hand and shot out dozens of Dao charm auras to seal the bronze mirror. The image in the mirror gradually faded away. Shi Xiangjuan didn't say a word. Instead, she kept slapping it. Soon, the mirror changed and slowly turned into a pool surrounded by mist. This pool reminded Ning Qing of the pool he had seen in the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. Shi Xiangjuan's face turned even paler. After the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond appeared, she said to Ning Qing, "Dao Lord Ning, what's her name? Give her to me." Ning Qing understood what Shi Xiangjuan wanted to do. She wanted to retrieve Shi Qionghua's soul from the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond's weapon. Ning Qing felt excited in his heart. He hadn't thought of this. Fortunately, Shi Xiangjuan came. Otherwise, even if he thought of this, he wouldn't have found a way to retrieve Shi Qionghua's essence spirit soul. Even if he suddenly controlled Shi Xiangjuan's daughter, it wouldn't help. Apart from Shi Xiangjuan, who could take back this mirror from her daughter without any accident, no one else could do it. The 9 Revolution Samsara Pond was almost equivalent to a part of Qiu Shi. Once he refined it or took control of it, any thoughts or soul within it would disappear. At that time, Shi Qionghua's spirit soul would truly perish. Her name is Shi Qionghuo. After Ning Qing finished, he carefully handed Shi Qionghuo to Shi Xiangjuan. Shi Xiangjuan also carefully took Shi Qionghuo. She could feel Shi Qionghua's position in Ning Cheng's heart. At this moment, she even felt a little envious. The reason why she abandoned everything to seek the Great Tao was not only related to the Great Tao she cultivated, but also to the man who abandoned her. Shi Xiangjuan forcibly cut off these messy memories and sent Shi Qionghuo into the mist over the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. After the layers of mist wrapped around Shi Qionghuo, Shi Xiangjuan kept blasting out hand seals. Although Ning Qing hadn't cultivated the 9 Revolutions Sacred Tao formula, his vision and understanding of the Great Tao far surpassed Shi Xiangjuan's. After a few breaths, he understood Shi Xiangjuan's actions. Shi Xiangjuan was searching for Shi Qionghua's aura and Kanyang's soul aura within the 9 Revolutions Samsara Pond. Although Ning Qing didn't continue, the Dao charm Ning Qing shot out before still affected the Samsara Dao path. The Samsara Dao charm and laws within the Samsara Dao continued to shatter and collapse. On the 49th day, Shi Xiangjuan finally stopped her hand seals. She raised her hand and put Shi Qionghuo into Ning Cheng's hands. "Dao Lord Ning, Qionghua's great Dao has been destroyed, but I still have the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao." Ning Qing took Shi Qionghuo, and shook his head at Shi Xiangjuan, stopping Shi Xiangjuan from continuing. At this time, Qionghuo still had her eyes closed, but she no longer looked like a cold sculpture. Instead, she had a trace of life aura. Her whole body also softened, but she didn't open her eyes. Ning Qing understood Qionghuo's situation. Although Qionghua's soul had returned, it was severely damaged and needed nourishment. It was best to stay between heaven and earth, absorb the laws of heaven and earth, and then use a top-grade soul-nourishing treasure. For Ning Qing, he had many ways to nourish the soul. Shi Xiangjuan obviously knew that Ning Qing could do it better than her, so she didn't explain. Ning Qing sneered at Shi Xiangjuan's words about the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao technique. Qionghuo had experienced many hardships and almost died several times, all because she cultivated the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao technique, a garbage cultivation method. Without the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao technique, how could Qionghuo have so many things to deal with? Many thanks, Dao friend Xiangjuan. As for the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao technique, don't give it to Qionghuo. Qionghua's foundation is now damaged, so I will give her another cultivation method. Shi Xiangjuan bowed to Ning Qing. Although she is a descendant of my Shi clan, Xiangjuan has the greatest responsibility for this matter. Xiangjuan doesn't dare to plead with Dao Lord Ning. If Dao Lord wants to take Qiushi away, Xiangjuan will leave this 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond to Dao Lord. Ning Qing spoke up calmly, "You arrived in time to prevent Qionghua's spiritual soul from perishing. I am already grateful to you. As for your unfilial daughter, you can take her back and raise her. Many thanks for Dao Lord Ning's magnanimity. Xiangjuan will take her leave. Sure, Xiangjuan thanked him once again. She didn't come to the 5 grand worlds for her daughter, but to visit Ning Cheng. She wanted to follow Ning Cheng to the gate of good fortune. Now that something like this happened, even if she had thick skin, she wouldn't be able to bring it up again. Ning Cheng ignored Shi Xiangjuan. He directly tore through the Grand Simplicity Void with Shi Qianghua and landed in the Grand Essence Realm. Chapter 1491. As soon as Ning Cheng stepped into the Grand Essence Realm, Luofei and Yan Ji immediately flew out of the Grand Essence Mountain. Apparently, they had been waiting for Ning Cheng to return. Behind Luofei and Yan Ji, Ruolan, Chu Manhe, Dao Lord Proud Dance, Ao Kan, and the others came out to greet them. Big brother. The moment Ning Ruolan saw Ning Cheng, her heart finally fell to the ground. Then she noticed Shi Qianghua in Ning Cheng's arms. Husband, what happened to elder sister Qianghua? Ji Luofei also saw Shi Qianghua in Ning Cheng's arms and asked in a nervous manner. Something happened to her when she reached the 3rd step. Let's go back and talk about it. Ning Cheng's words abruptly paused, before he frowned and asked, what's the matter with Brother Kong? His spiritual consciousness instantly sensed that Kong Zai was in the middle of healing, and his injuries were not light. Looking at Kong Zai's appearance, this injury seemed to have been sustained a long time ago. It was Zhu Yinghua. 50,000 years after the Chaos Inner Realm opened, Zhu Yinghua suddenly came to the Grand Essence Realm. She wanted to destroy Grand Essence. In the end, Senior Kong Zai took action and fought with that woman outside the Grand Essence Realm. Unexpectedly, Senior Kong Zai was not that woman's match. Later, Senior Xinyun arrived in time to help. In the end, the two of them were at a disadvantage against that woman. Chu Manhe hurriedly explained. Although Ning Cheng did not know much about Zhu Yinghua, but he knew that she was an extremely vicious woman. In order to achieve their goals, they would do anything. If she defeated Kong Zai and Xinyun, she would never leave the Grand Essence Realm behind. What happened next? Ning Cheng knew that the Grand Essence Realm was safe and sound, and Zhu Yinghua should have been blocked. But he still felt some lingering fear in his heart. For Zhu Yinghua to be able to defeat the combined forces of Earth Dao Lord Xinyun and Dao Lord Human King, her strength must have increased tremendously. The only explanation was that this woman had also obtained great benefits in the chaotic inner realm. Fortunately, Qin Mutian didn't come. If Qin Mutian came, the Grand Essence Realm would have long since ceased to exist. In the 5 Grand Realms, no one could stop Qin Mutian. Ning Cheng made up his mind to improve the Grand Essence Realm no matter what. Then, he would upgrade the Grand Essence Realm's barrier protecting Grand Array once again. Perfecting the Grand Essence Realm lacked balance, so he didn't want to wait any longer. Previously, he had been powerless without the balanced soil, but now that he had succeeded in merging the 2 realms, he could do nothing. Even if he lacked the earth balance, he could still use his supreme great Tao laws to perfect the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Ruolan from the side spoke up. Later on, a very eccentric person arrived. He immediately helped Senior Kong and Senior Shen. Right, big brother, I think I saw Grey Toot Toot. He is on the shoulder of that strange man. It's just that their battle is so intense that I can't see clearly. Ruolan, are you sure that it was Grey Toot Toot? Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart, as he quickly asked. Ning Ruolan hesitated for a moment before speaking up with some uncertainty. I'm not sure, but I can feel that it was very close to me. However, after that strange person was defeated, Zhu Yinghua chased after him, and the two of them never returned. Senior Kong and Senior Shen were both seriously injured in that battle and have been recuperating until today. Ruolan, conjure the image of that strange person for me to see. Before leaving the Grand Essence Realm, Kong Zai was the strongest among his friends. Who else was stronger than Kong Zai? Ning Ruolan raised her hand and condensed a vague image before saying, this is the senior who helped us. But because the battle's Dao charm was too powerful, I couldn't see it clearly. On the side, Chu Manhe modified the image condensed by Ning Ruolan a few times, and the blurry image became slightly clearer. This is Big Brother Tsung Wei. Ning Qing cried out in excitement. He had wondered who would help the Grand Essence Realm, and it turned out to be Tsung Wei. Tsung Wei must have come to Grand Essence because he heard that he was in Grand Essence Realm. Ning Qing didn't expect that Tsung Wei would fight Zhu Yinghua before even seeing him. Big brother, do you know this senior who helped us? Ning Rulan quickly asked. Ning Qing nodded solemnly. Yes, not only do I know him, but the reason why I could return to Earth and take you away was also because of Big Brother Tsung Wei's help. I owe him a great debt of gratitude. Ah! Ning Rulan exclaimed and immediately said, that woman went after Big Brother Tsung Wei. Doesn't that mean Big Brother Tsung Wei is in danger? What should we do? Ning Rulan and Ning Qing both took benevolence very seriously. According to her big brother, if it weren't for Big Brother Tsung Wei, she wouldn't have seen her big brother again in this life. In the true cultivation world, not to mention decades, even tens of thousands of years passed in a blink of an eye. After tens of thousands of years, even if her big brother returned to Earth, she would have already turned into a skeleton. After confirming that it was Tsung Wei who helped, Ning Qing started to worry. At this time, he was almost sure that the companion beast on Tsung Wei's shoulder was Grey Toot Toot. Grey Toot Toot also knew Tsung Wei. If they met, it would naturally follow Tsung Wei. Big brother Tsung Wei is in danger. I have to save him no matter what. Ao can. Ning Qing took out a jade box as he spoke. Big brother, please instruct me. Although Ao can didn't speak, Ning Cheng's words were his everything. Ning Qing handed the jade box to Ao Kan. This is Association Master Lu's body-shaping treasure, the soul-gathering immortal lotus. Help me take it to the mysterious yellow heavens beyond. Also, leave some for Liao Qianluo. His corporeal body was destroyed for the sake of the grand change realm. Big brother, don't worry. I will definitely get this done. After Ao Kan finished, he didn't delay and went straight to the teleportation array. Now that the Grand Essence Realm and the mysterious yellow heavens beyond were connected by several planar teleportation arrays, it wouldn't take a few years to travel back and forth. As soon as Ao Kan left, Ning Qing quickly stepped forward and said, Brother Kong, your injuries haven't healed yet. Why did you come out? At this time, Kong Zai stepped out of the void of the mysterious yellow sect. However, the Dao charm around his body was scattered, and his strength was far worse than when he first came. Brother Ning, I'm relieved to see you back. My injuries aren't a problem. I didn't know how much worse my injuries were back then, but I still survived. Kong Zai landed in front of Ning Cheng and spoke with a smile. Ning Qing felt annoyed. Back in the chaotic inner world, he didn't find many top-grade healing treasures. Kong Zai continued, this time, Shen Yun and I had to thank that friend who helped us. Otherwise, the two of us wouldn't have been Zhu Yinghua's opponent. That friend who helped us wasn't any weaker than Zhu Yinghua. But when he helped us, he was already injured, which allowed the three of us to barely block Zhu Yinghua's attacks. Moreover, he brought out the opening heaven talisman to lure Zhu Yinghua away and prevent her from attacking Tai Su. When Ning Qing heard that Tsung Wei's strength wasn't any weaker than Zhu Yinghua's, he immediately felt overjoyed. With Tsung Wei's strength, who could injure Tsung Wei? Seeing Ning Qing pondering, Kong Zai spoke again, that Zhu Yinghua should have chased Tsung Wei for an opening heaven talisman. I don't think it would be easy for Zhu Yinghua to catch up to Tsung Wei, but I don't have to worry about it. After I recover, I'm going to take a trip to the chaotic inner world with Shen Yun to try my luck and see if I can get some leftovers. Brother Kong, if you hadn't mentioned it, I would have forgotten about it. Ning Qing quickly took out a ring and swept it with his spiritual sense. Ning Qing immediately tore open the ring's restriction. He had snatched the fat monk's ring, but because he was with Luofei and Yan Ji, he didn't open the ring to check it. Although he didn't obtain the fat monk's world, most of the things that the fat monk obtained in the chaotic inner world were temporarily stored inside the ring. How long did this fellow plunder in the chaotic inner world? When Ning Qing saw the things inside the fat monk's ring, he couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. It was like another radiant storehouse. Perhaps the top-grade treasures inside might not be as many as the Radiant Storehouse, but there was nothing bad about it. Heavenly Phoenix Buddha's Eye, Azure Dragon Crystal, Samsara Earth, there were even 2 Primal Chaos Essence fruits, which were top-grade healing treasures. No matter how strong one's cultivation was, as long as one's Tao charm sustained damage to one's life essence, spiritual soul and sea of consciousness suffered heavy damage, one Tao fruit could solve the problem. Ning Qing raised his hand and grabbed a Primal Chaos Essence fruit. But before he could hand over the essence fruit to Kong Zai, he was shocked by a small tree nail. He quickly threw the essence fruit to Kong Zai and reached out to grab the tree nail from the ring. This is the creation wood nail. Kong Zai didn't have time to marvel at the Primal Chaos Essence fruit when he saw the tree nail in Ning Cheng's hand and exclaimed. Chapter 1492. Senior Kong, what is a builder wood nail? Ning Rulan asked. Although Ning Cheng and Kong Zai's friendship was not shallow, and they even addressed each other as brothers, Ning Rulan still respectfully addressed Kong Zai as senior. Kong Zai said solemnly, I don't know as much about the creation tree as Tao Lord Earth. Brother Shen is definitely one of the people in this universe who knows the creation tree the best. Brother Shen is already here, let's see what he has to say. Ning Cheng also saw Shen Yun coming over, but Shen Yun did not live in the mysterious yellow sect. However, Ning Cheng did not doubt Kong Zai's words. Shen Yun was a grand Tao Lord. When it came to spiritual objects that grew on the earth, no one was more proficient than the Earth Tao Lord. While Kong Zai spoke, Shen Yun stepped out of the void and cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng. Shen Yun greets Tao Lord Ning. Congratulations on improving your strength. Elder brother Shen, you seem to have escaped from a faraway place. As soon as Shen Yun landed in front of him, Ning Cheng could feel that Shen Yun's aura was somewhat chaotic. Shen Yun was already injured. At this moment, the Tao runes around him were even more chaotic. Shen Yun's expression was slightly awkward as he said, Indeed, I met an expert in the void. In a battle, I was actually not a match for him. Fortunately, that guy was also injured, so I escaped all the way back to the Grand Essence realm. Originally. Kong Zai snorted. You wanted to drag me down with you, didn't you? Humph. Shen Yun looked a little embarrassed. Brother Kong, as long as you and I are here, together with Tai Su's protective array, we can definitely block that guy, Kong Zai continued to snort. In your dreams. I won't offend a ruthless person for your trivial matter. Shen Yun chuckled, now that Tao Lord Ning is back, no one will be stupid enough to deal with the Grand Essence realm. Everyone understood what Shen Yun meant. Ning Cheng was in the Grand Essence realm, and anyone who wanted to cause trouble in the Grand Essence realm would only be courting death. Ning Cheng did not care about it. Even if Qin Mutian came, he would not feel any fear. Not to mention a guy who fought with Shen Yun and let Shen Yun escape. He just opened his palm and asked, Brother Shen, thank you for blocking Zhu Yinghua and protecting the Grand Essence realm. May I ask if Brother Shen recognizes this? Before Ning Cheng could finish, Shen Yun exclaimed, Tao Lord Ning, where did you get the creation wood nails? Ning Cheng knew that this nail was definitely not ordinary. Moreover, he had also heard of the name, creation wood. However, he really didn't know the detailed description of the creation wood and the origin of the creation wood nail. I would like to ask Brother Shen to enlighten me, what is this building wood nail? As Ning Cheng spoke, he placed the building wood nail in Shen Yun's hands. Shen Yun held the creation wood nail excitedly and muttered to himself. After a while, he came back to his senses and said, the creation wood is the supreme tree of the five-element universe. It balances all life in the main universe. Legend has it that the world tree grew at the peak of the five elements universe. In the end, Duemo found it. Who is Duemo? Ning Cheng asked. A look of respect appeared in Shen Yun's eyes. In terms of fame and power, the 5 sages and the 10 Tao Lords aren't as famous as Duemo. Duemo has another title, the 5 Elements Divine Lord. 5 Elements Sacred Lord. Ning Cheng immediately thought of Qin Mutian. Qin Mutian was the light and darkness sacred lord. Since Duemo was the five elements' sacred lord, then he shouldn't be any weaker than Qin Mutian. After Duemo obtained the creation wood, his strength skyrocketed. Almost no one could match his cultivation. However, the news of the creation would also spread out. Later, many powerhouses came looking for Duemo, wanting to divide the creation wood equally. Duemo rejected these people without hesitation. In Duemo's opinion, he didn't need to fear any powerhouses with his strength. However, this refusal led to a huge battle. At this point, Shenyun raised the builder wood nail in his hand and said, Duemo quickly paid the price for being so domineering. The experts who came looking for Duemo were all supreme level experts with the most powerful treasures. Although Duemo didn't fear any of them in a one-on-one fight, facing so many powerhouses, Duemo's fists couldn't match four hands. Under the siege of so many powerhouses, his corporeal body shattered and his spiritual soul collapsed. Shenyun sighed. In the end, Duemo had to turn the creation wood nail into the creation wood nail to fight against the enemies. Although those powerhouses were powerful, they suffered heavy injuries when they joined forces to deal with Duemo. Under the attack of the creation wood nail, they suddenly collapsed and suffered heavy casualties. A few of them even escaped with heavy injuries. As for the outcome, no one knows. Senior Shenyun, who besieged the sacred master of five elements? Ning Rulan asked. She cared about this ancient past the most. Shenyun thought about it for a while before speaking. The information I saw wasn't very complete. I only know that one was the Buddhist lord of the Western universe, and the other was the sacred master of the light and dark universe and heavenly venerate Styx River. Ning Qing secretly marveled in his heart. What kind of powerhouses were fighting for the creation wood? Ning Cheng's strength couldn't compare to these powerhouses. He knew that the sacred master of the light and dark universe that Shenyun mentioned wasn't Qin Mutian, but the person before Qin Mutian. He had been to the light and dark universe and knew that the reason Qin Mutian could become the sacred master of the light and dark universe was because he killed his original master. Ning Cheng had always wondered about it. It wasn't as if there weren't any slaves who killed their masters, but he could imagine how difficult it was. No matter how good Qin Mutian's qualifications were, no matter how good his opportunities were, he couldn't kill the real sacred master of light and dark universe. But after listening to Shenyun's words, he finally understood. The reason why Qin Mutian killed the original sacred master of the light and dark universe wasn't because the sacred master was weak, but because the sacred master had suffered serious injuries during the battle with the sacred master of the five elements universe. After the sacred master of light and dark universe suffered serious injuries, he naturally fled back to the light and dark universe to heal. He didn't expect that his slaves would rebel and kill him. As for the Buddhist lord of the Western universe, Ning Cheng had heard of him. The fat monk he had killed earlier was the sixth one under this guy's command. Ning Cheng didn't know if this fellow had recovered. If he hadn't, he would probably become a big scourge in the future. Brother Shen, who is this heavenly venerate Styx River? The only person Ning Cheng hadn't heard of was heavenly venerate Styx River. In ancient Chinese mythology, there was a Styx River ancestor, but Ning Cheng wasn't sure if it was the same person. Even Taoist Purple Firmament and Primal Chaos Tao Lord were somewhat different from the original legends. Shenyun shook his head, that's all I know. As for the origins of Styx River, Sacred Master Light and Dark Universe, and that Buddhist Lord of the Western Universe, I don't know anything about them. Ning Cheng didn't ask anymore. He took out another Chaos Essence fruit and handed it to Shenyun. Brother Shen, thank you for helping Brother Kong protect the Grand Essence Realm. I obtained this essence fruit from the chaotic inner realm. I can use it to heal you. Shenyun was a Grand Tao Lord. How could he not know about the heaven-defying effects of the Chaos Essence fruit? His eyes lit up with joy, and he quickly thanked Ning Cheng. Many thanks, Tao Lord Ning. I, Shenyun, am also a Grand Essence person. Anyone who wants to deal with Grand Essence will have to step over my dead body. Shenyun originally wanted to fuse with the Grand Essence fusion realm. But after seeing Ning Cheng's power, he no longer dared to have such thoughts. In the end, he decided to follow Kong Zai's example and find another way to fuse with the realms. Ning Qing felt the changes in Shen Yun. He raised his hand and patted Shen Yun. "Brother Shen, if you don't mind, we can call each other brothers in the future. In fact, even if you succeed in fusing with a realm, it doesn't have much power. The real fusion realm isn't about fusing with an existing realm, but fusing with your own realm." Shen Yun showed a blank expression. Ning Cheng's words sounded simple, but the path to the Great Tao was extremely complicated. Of course, you can fuse with your own realm, but wouldn't it become weaker and weaker? When you condense your own laws, condense your own realm, and then derive a world within your own realm, you will know how powerful it is. It might be difficult, but there is a way you can try. You can use your own law world to derive your own origin. Then, you can cut off the laws you originally comprehended and use your own origin to derive new laws. This will take a long time, maybe tens of millions of years, maybe tens of millions of years. Ning Qing patiently explained in detail. Not only Shen Yun, but Kong Zai and the others also listened to Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng's words planted a seed in their great Tao. Just as Ning Qing said, it might not germinate now, but who could be sure that they wouldn't become the next 10 Tao Lords and 5 Sacred Masters after countless years? Many thanks, Brother Ning, for dispelling my doubts. Although Shen Yun didn't quite understand what Ning Qing said, he believed that as long as he accumulated enough time, one day, he would find the path Ning Qing spoke of. He was more than happy to address Ning Qing as brother. Ning Qing and Kong Zai were good friends, and he and Ning Qing originally had some gaps between them. But now that Ning Qing took the initiative to give up these gaps, why would he, Shen Yun, hesitate? Ning Qing smiled and said, "You're welcome. As long as I'm still in the Grand Essence realm, you can discuss any Tao intent you can't understand with me." After that, Ning Qing said to Ning Rulan, "Rulan, take your sister Qianghua back. I want to recondense the Grand Essence realm's laws and perfect it." "Tao Lord, did you find Balance Earth?" Li Feng, who had rushed over after hearing the news, called out in joy when she heard that Ning Qing wanted to perfect the Grand Essence realm. Behind Li Feng were the other court pillars of the Grand Essence Tao Court, as well as the sect masters of the major sects in the Grand Essence realm. Ning Qing quickly stepped forward and greeted Li Feng and the others. "Many thanks for your hard work in the Grand Essence realm while I was away. I haven't found Balance Earth yet, but I have another way. I believe it should work." Ning Qing had to hurry up and repair the Grand Essence realm. He also wanted to heal Qianghua and even find some way to help. If he didn't perfect the Grand Essence realm and arrange the realm protecting Grand Array, he wouldn't be able to leave with peace of mind. "Brother Ning, I found Balance Earth." While speaking, Shen Yun took out a jade box and handed it to Ning Qing. "This is Balance Earth." Ning Qing took the jade box in surprise. He didn't expect Shen Yun to obtain Balance Earth, which he had never found. Shen Yun smiled, "The reason why I was chased is because of this thing." Ning Qing put away the jade box and looked at the void outside the Grand Essence ruins with a slight smile. "The person chasing me actually chased me all the way to the Grand Essence realm. Let's go out and have a look." Chapter 1493. After Ning Qing arrived at the void public square outside the Grand Essence realm, a few breaths of time passed before a man in a golden robe landed. The golden-robed man not only had a strong body, but he was also much taller than the average person. When Ning Qing saw this golden-robed man, he immediately thought of a descendant of the Pan clan. The golden-robed man apparently didn't expect so many people to be here. His gaze swept around and then lingered on Ning Qing and Kong Zai for a while. Finally, he fixed his gaze on Shen Yun and tried to speak in a calm tone. "You're a third-step Tao Lord, yet you actually dared to snatch my balanced soil. Don't you have any face?" Shen Yun snorted, "Your balanced soil. Did you write your name on it? We agreed to take the balanced soil together. Since I got the balanced soil, why did you take the opportunity to snatch it? You." The golden-robed man suddenly felt angry, and the Tao charm around him fluctuated. It seemed that he was about to attack again. Ning Qing felt the Tao charm aura around the golden-robed man, and his heart moved slightly. This Dao charm felt a bit familiar, and it seemed similar to the mysterious yellow formless Dao charm. Do you really want to win by numbers? In that case, come at me together. No matter how many people there are, Chang Xiang, am not afraid. The golden-robed man spoke up angrily. After speaking, the imposing aura around him grew even sharper. Ning Qing suddenly realized that this person was Chang Xiang. He was the first owner of the mysterious yellow bead after mysterious yellow Gaian abandoned it. However, he didn't pass mysterious yellow Gaian's assessment and abandoned the mysterious yellow bead again. Ning Qing didn't expect this fellow to still be alive. It really wasn't an easy task. Dao friend Chang Xiang, you don't have to be angry. Since you and Dao friend Xinyun discovered this balanced soil together, why don't we split it in half? Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already checked the balanced soil in the jade box. Even if it was only 1/3, it would be enough for him to repair the Grand Essence realm. Ah! Chang Xiang froze. Although he was angry and ready to fight, he also knew that his chances of winning were extremely slim. Not to mention Shen Yun and the powerhouse with the aura of an emperor standing next to Shen Yun, Chang Xiang felt that he wasn't this ordinary-looking young man's opponent. He didn't expect this young man to be willing to give him half of the balanced soil. How could he not be willing? Not waiting for Ning Cheng to say it a second time, he quickly cupped his fists and spoke, "Many thanks to this Dao friend, I am willing." Ning Cheng did not hesitate to take out the jade box. After opening it, he took out half of the Hangyang soil and threw it to Chang Xiang. Chang Xiang carefully put away the earth sphere, before he cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and spoke, "In that case, then this Chang Xiang will take his leave. Dao friend Chang Xiang, please wait a moment." Ning Cheng once again called out to Chang Xiang. According to reason, Chang Xiang could indeed obtain half of the Hangyang soil. However, Ning Cheng did not give the Hangyang soil to Chang Xiang because of this, but rather because he wanted to ask Chang Xiang about something. Chang Xiang immediately became vigilant and asked in a deep voice, "Do you have any other advice?" Ning Cheng smiled and said, "Dao friend Chang Xiang, you don't have to worry. If I wanted to make a move, I would have already done so." Chang Xiang said calmly, "Even if we fight, Chang Xiang, I'm not afraid of anyone. Whether it's a group attack or a one-on-one fight, I will take you on." Ning Cheng didn't bother to care about Chang Xiang's arrogant attitude and asked calmly, "Dao friend Chang Xiang has a powerful corporeal body and an astonishing aura. I'm afraid that even the corporeal bodies of the 10 Dao monarchs wouldn't be comparable to it. However, your spiritual force is extremely weak, and you can't even perfectly integrate it with your corporeal body. This severely limits your strength. If your spiritual force improves a little more, and your corporeal body can completely integrate with your spiritual force, I believe that you can even compete for the position of the 10 Dao monarchs. I wonder if Dao friend Chang Xiang can tell me what's going on." Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Chang Xiang's expression changed drastically, and the aura around him suddenly weakened a lot. Since Ning Cheng could see this, it meant that his strength far surpassed his. Even if he couldn't beat him, he most likely wouldn't be able to escape from this person's hands. How could such a powerful expert be hidden in this small realm? Moreover, Ning Cheng said that he could also compete for the position of the 10 Dao monarchs. This meant that he knew the strength of the 10 Dao monarchs. If he didn't fight against one of the 10 Dao monarchs, how could he know all this? Fighting against the 10 Dao monarchs, even Chang Xiang didn't have the qualifications. Don't look at Ning Cheng being in the Unity realm. With Chang Xiang's vision and experience, he naturally wouldn't look at the realm on the surface. There was too much water in this thing. Chang Xiang took a deep breath, and the arrogance in his tone disappeared a lot. His answer also became a lot more cautious. He even cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and asked, "Chang Xiang hasn't asked for Dao Monarch's title yet." Ning Cheng also cupped his fists and said, "My name is Ning Cheng, and I'm now a Dao Monarch of the Taisu Dao Court. Greetings Dao Monarch Ning. The reason why my spiritual sense and physical body can't match is because my spiritual sense is weak and my physical body is strong. It's because I initially only cultivated my physical body. As for spiritual sense, it's only recently that I started cultivating it. Chang Xiang tried to ease his tone as much as possible. So you're from the witch race, and you're cultivating the witch race's cultivation method. Ning Qing immediately understood when he heard Chang Xiang's words. Only those who cultivated the witch race's cultivation method would not cultivate spiritual sense, or had no way to cultivate spiritual sense. It was no wonder that Chang Xiang could become the strongest person in the mysterious yellow bead apart from mysterious yellow Gaian. Chang Xiang did not cultivate spiritual sense, which meant that the mysterious yellow bead would think that he had never cultivated. At the same time, Ning Qing also understood where Chang Xiang's cultivation method for spiritual sense came from. It was definitely obtained from the mysterious yellow bead. Only a creation treasure like the mysterious yellow bead could allow the witch race to obtain the method to cultivate spiritual sense. Chang Xiang must have passed the method back to the witch race since he had obtained the method to cultivate spiritual sense. No wonder Kai Ji said that the witch race could now cultivate spiritual sense. It turned out that it was because of Chang Xiang. Chang Xiang had obtained the method to cultivate spiritual sense through the mysterious yellow bead. Could it be that Kai Ji's old friend had also given Kai Ji the method to cultivate spiritual sense because of the creation treasure? Ning Qing immediately thought of the sacred Tao sect master. Yemo had the golden page of fate, so he could naturally do it. Yemo came from Earth, so was Kai Ji from Earth? Unfortunately, he did not think of this at the time and did not ask more. Chang Xiang secretly admired Ning Cheng's meticulousness. With just a few words, Ning Qing knew that he was from the witch race. Compared to this person in front of him, Chang Xiang seemed to be much worse. Chang Xiang did not admit or deny Ning Cheng's words. This was the witch race's secret. Ning Qing guessed it, but he would never say it out loud. Taoist Chang Xiang, if I'm not wrong, your spiritual sense cultivation method came from the mysterious yellow bead, right? You have courage. After knowing the danger, you abandoned the mysterious yellow bead in time and saved your life, Ning Qing said calmly as he stared at Chang Xiang. Since he knew that Chang Xiang was from the witch race, Kai Ji might be his old friend. He wanted to give Chang Xiang a little warning and not touch Kai Ji. You know about the mysterious yellow bead? Chang Xiang stared at Ning Qing with wide eyes. Ning Qing opened his hand and a bead filled with the aura of the source appeared in his palm. Mysterious yellow bead? You actually have the mysterious yellow bead? Chang Xiang stared at the mysterious yellow bead in Ning Cheng's hand in disbelief. His heart was pounding. He knew how heaven-defying and powerful the mysterious yellow bead was. Ning Qing kept the mysterious yellow bead calmly. After a while, the greed and desire in Chang Xiang's eyes gradually disappeared. However, there was still a trace of urgency in the corner of his eyes. Obviously, the mysterious yellow bead was too tempting for him. Tao Lord Ning, I didn't manage to leave the mysterious yellow bead. If I hadn't left a trace of my spiritual sense in the witch race, Chang Xiang, would no longer exist in this world. Chang Xiang took a deep breath and calmed the strong desire in his heart. Ning Qing nodded. The witch race was a powerful ancient clan. It was normal for them to have treasures that could restore Chang Xiang's body and cultivation. Tao Lord Ning, you have to be careful of the mysterious yellow Gaian. If the mysterious yellow bead is in your hands. No, the mysterious yellow Gaian definitely knows that the mysterious yellow bead is in your hands. Before Chang Xiang could finish speaking, Ning Qing waved his hand and said, I'm afraid that he won't come looking for me. If he does, I'll settle the score with him. Tao friend Chang Xiang, I have a few questions to ask you. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Chang Xiang sucked in a breath of cold air. Ning Cheng wasn't even afraid of the mysterious yellow holy master. From Ning Cheng's tone, it was obvious that he had met the mysterious yellow holy master and even fought with him. After fighting with the mysterious yellow holy master, Ning Cheng was still standing here safe and sound. How terrifying was that? In Chang Xiang's eyes, the mysterious yellow holy master was a nightmare, a supreme powerhouse. Ning Qing didn't even fear such a powerhouse. Chang Xiang suddenly had an idea. He wanted to invite Ning Cheng to the witch race and then help the witch race stand tall in the universe again. Only a powerhouse like Ning Cheng could do such a big thing. Based on his years of experience in the outside world, he knew that the Magi lacked powerful friends. With the idea of asking Ning Cheng, Chang Xiang's tone and actions suddenly became respectful and polite. He bowed to Ning Cheng and said, "Tao Lord Ning, please ask. Chang Xiang will tell you everything he knows." Ning Cheng didn't know what Chang Xiang was thinking, but he could guess that Chang Xiang feared the mysterious yellow Gaian. "Tao friend Chang Xiang, your witch race is also a big clan. I want to ask you something. Do you know where to enter the Western Universe?" Ning Cheng also asked politely. "Western Universe?" Chang Xiang was shocked. He immediately cupped his fists and said, "Tao Lord Ning, I only heard that there is a holy Buddha Chu Pu in the Western Universe. I don't know much about it. If Tao Lord Ning wants to know more, you can go to my witch race. My race's ancestral emperor will definitely know about it." After answering, Chang Xiang hesitated a little and added, "Tao Lord Ning has amazing spiritual power, so you naturally have nothing to fear. I suggest that Tao Lord not provoke the powerhouses of the Western Universe. Their Tao force is completely different from ours and they are very powerful." Ning Cheng nodded. "Thank you, Tao friend Chang Xiang. I naturally won't provoke them. By the way, I heard from my friend that the witch race has a peerless genius woman who is no less than the 5 sacred masters. Is it because she cultivated the spiritual force cultivation technique that you took out?" Chang Xiang's face suddenly showed a proud expression. "You're talking about Fairy Qing, right? She only used the witch race's cultivation technique and obtained the Tao in the witch race's treasure land. In terms of strength, I am far inferior to her." Chapter 1494. "Isn't Fairy Qing from the witch race?" Ning Cheng asked in doubt. If she was from the witch race, she definitely wouldn't have used the witch race's cultivation method and cultivation place. But if she wasn't from the witch race, how could she obtain a cultivation method from the witch race? Chang Xiang replied respectfully, "Because Ji He, the descendant of my witch race's ancestor Ji, was imprisoned by Sacred Master Green Lotus's child. That woman was vicious and even forced my witch race's disciples to guard the sky pillar. If that woman hadn't been delayed by something and couldn't return to her cave in time, allowing Fairy Qing to find He, I'm afraid that He would still be suppressed under the sky pillar." "Is the woman you're talking about Xing Shi?" Ning Cheng asked immediately. Chang Xiang nodded, "Yes, that vicious woman is Xing Shi. I heard that this woman seized the inheritance of Sacred Master Green Lotus and obtained the good fortune Green Lotus, calling herself Sacred Master Green Lotus. Moreover, she overestimated herself and tried to break through the sky pillar. If the sky pillar was taken away, I'm afraid that the entire 5 elements universe would collapse." "What's Fairy Qing's name?" Ning Cheng clenched his fists and felt a little strange. He thought of Yu Qing. When he escaped from Jiangsha City, Yu Qing was in Jiangsha City. Too many things happened after that, and he never had a chance to find Yu Qing. If Xing Shi found Jiangsha City, she would most likely take Yu Qing away. If Xing Shi took Yu Qing away, then Fairy Qing would most likely be Yu Qing. Her name is Yu Qing, and Xing Shi accepted her as a disciple. Fortunately, Fairy Qing left with He. Otherwise, I'm afraid she wouldn't have been able to escape Xing Shi's clutches." Chang Xiang also felt Ning Cheng's excitement, but he didn't know what was going on. Sure enough, it was Yu Qing. Ning Cheng felt hatred in his heart. He didn't kill Xing Shi in the chaotic void back then. Xing Shi most likely took Yu Qing away to lure him out. At the same time, Ning Cheng also understood why Yu Qing could cultivate so quickly in the witch race. Chang Xiang's spiritual sense cultivation method and the cultivation method he passed to Yu Qing both originated from the good fortune mysterious yellow bead. Coupled with the witch race's top-grade resources and Yu Qing's supreme qualifications, it wasn't surprising for her to progress so quickly. Ning Cheng calmed down the excitement in his heart, cupped his fists, and said, "Tao friend Chang Xiang, I want to repair the Grand Essence Realm. After completing the Grand Essence Realm, I want to go to your clan to visit Sorcerer Ancestor. I wonder if this Dao friend can wait for a while. No matter what, he had to see Yu Qing again. In addition, he wanted to find out more about the Western universe, so he had to make a trip to the witch tribe. Dao Lord Ning wishes to repair a world. Extreme delight immediately appeared on Chang Xiang's face. He had already seen the Grand Essence Realm, and it was definitely a world plane with an incredibly high level of laws in the world. Compared to the place where the Sorcerer Ancestor resided, the laws of the heaven and earth here were stronger. The only thing missing was the fragmented and incomplete Grand Essence Realm's laws. Since Ning Qing could repair the Grand Essence Realm, it showed how powerful his cultivation were. He was born in the witch tribe. Even if he recultivated his spiritual force, it would be impossible for him to repair a world. Now that he could see an expert restoring a top-notch domain, how could he not be happy? This kind of opportunity might not come by in a lifetime. Once they met, it would be an unparalleled opportunity. Ning Qing cautiously said, "Yes, I do want to repair the Grand Essence Realm." Previously, Dao Lord Xinyun looked for balanced soil in preparation for me to repair the Grand Essence Realm. Chang Xiang said eagerly, "I'm naturally willing to wait. I wonder if Dao Lord Ning would allow me to watch from the sidelines." He wanted to befriend Ning Cheng and invite him to the witch tribe as a guest. Even if Ning Cheng didn't let him watch how to repair the Grand Essence Realm, he would still wait for Ning Cheng. Now that he had such an opportunity, how could he miss it? Ning Cheng smiled, "Anyone can watch me repair the Grand Essence Realm. Let's go back to Grand Essence Realm." At this time, not only Chang Xiang, but everyone in the Grand Essence Realm was overjoyed. The news that Dao Lord Grand Essence wanted to repair the Grand Essence Realm spread throughout the entire Grand Essence Realm in a few breaths. At this moment, everyone put down what they were doing and waited for Dao Lord Ning to repair the Grand Essence Realm. "Rulan, give me Sister Qianghua." Ning Qing carefully took Shi Qianghua from Ning Rulan's hands. Qianghua's vitality had returned, but it would take a long time for her to wake up. This time, he wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to repair the Grand Essence Realm to give both Qianghua and Grand Essence a new life. When Ning Qing stood alone in the void of the Grand Essence Realm, the entire Grand Essence Realm turned quiet. Whether it was cultivators or demonic beasts, everyone knew that the biggest event in the history of the Grand Essence Realm was about to happen. As long as the Grand Essence Realm was repaired, they would no longer have to look for a place with more perfect heaven and earth laws to advance or wander the void. Ning Qing slowly released Qianghua's hands, and Shi Qianghua quietly floated in front of Ning Qing. Stabilizing soil, releasing soil, gung soil, balanced soil, and breath soil, 5 kinds of primal chaos soil, all suspended around Ning Qing. Ning Qing formed a series of hand seals, and Dao charm slowly spread out from his body. The 5 soils also began to dissolve slowly. At this time, Ning Qing took out a drop of 5 elements spirit water. The entire void of the Grand Essence Realm began to rumble. At this time, whether it was the Grand Essence Ruins, Grand Essence Domain, or even the Grand Essence Sea, the laws of heaven and earth began to surge. Ning Qing shot out a new aura of laws, which quickly merged with the 5 soils and merged with the entire world. It was as if an invisible hand and endless heaven and earth Dao charm had merged the broken and incomplete laws of heaven and earth together, and the 5 elements laws began to perfect. Some of the more powerful cultivators were shocked to discover that the broken and fragmented laws of heaven and earth had suddenly reconnected at this moment. Cultivators with lower cultivation could only feel the laws of heaven and earth more clearly, which made it easier for them to comprehend the Grand Tao. Everyone excitedly felt the changes in the surrounding space. Even some spiritual plants swayed at this moment, frantically looking for an opportunity to grow within the perfect laws of heaven and earth. But this was just the beginning. The moment the laws of heaven and earth became clearer, the Dao charm around Ning Cheng's body grew even richer, and the aura of the Grand Dao grew even more majestic. Just like a newborn baby, the Grand Essence Realm started to grow crazily. The mysterious fairy ancient clan's annual ring suddenly split open and turned into endless life force aura that merged with the entire Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng also took out the Seven Bridges Realm book, and the Seven Bridges Realm book turned into 7 vaguely arched bridges. Then, a faintly discernible passage connected to the arched bridges, and the endless Een spirit aura crazily poured into the passage along the 7 arched bridges. After the passage, all the laws of the underworld realm began to collapse. Several powerful Een spirits, who wanted to resist the collapse of the laws, turned into powder under Ning Cheng's Dao charm and dissipated without a trace. Amid this collapsing sound, new laws began to emerge. The vast Dao charm of the laws of heaven and earth condensed into 7 new bridges in the shortest time. The underworld realm's laws began to take shape, and the Dao charm also began to rumble. The Dao charm aura in Ning Cheng's hands grew more complex and powerful, and the reincarnation passage completely took shape at this moment. The underworld realm also started to condense. Everyone excitedly felt the gradually perfecting laws of heaven and earth around them and felt a clearer perception of the grand Dao. Some even fantasized about how long they would need to go into seclusion after the laws of heaven and earth in the Grand Essence realm were perfected. The Grand Essence realm would soon be restored, and the entire Grand Essence realm would benefit from it, whether it was human cultivators, demonic cultivators, or spirit plants. Li Feng trembled with excitement. Even though the mysterious fairy ancient clan had contributed the growth ring, he still couldn't contain the joy in his heart. He didn't expect that this matter would really come true. When Ning Cheng said that he wanted to restore the Grand Essence realm, he just wanted to do his best to help Ning Cheng. No matter whether he succeeded or not, he had no regrets. Just like Ning Cheng said, if he couldn't complete it, he would leave it to his descendants. As long as he kept working hard, one day, the Grand Essence realm would be restored. Now that he was still alive, he had even stepped into the Dao integration realm. Moreover, the Grand Essence realm would also be restored at this time. He no longer had to leave this matter to his descendants. Li Feng finally couldn't hold back the excitement and ecstasy in his heart and knelt on the ground. At this moment, he not only thanked Ning Cheng but also the perfected Grand Essence realm's heaven and earth laws, as well as his lifelong wish and hope for the Grand Essence realm. After Li Feng, one cultivator after another knelt on the ground. Even the demonic beasts of the Grand Essence demon domain all knelt on the ground. Moreover, those seemingly endless spiritual plants also bent down in the direction of Ning Cheng. Heaven and earth laws, combine. Ning Cheng gave a shout, and the entire Grand Essence realm's heaven and earth turned clear. A continuous drizzle fell from the sky, bringing with it a rich fusion of heaven and earth spirit chi. This is the spirit rain formed from the fusion of heaven and earth laws. It's almost equivalent to primal chaos chi. As someone exclaimed, everyone crazily absorbed the fusion of heaven and earth laws from the world's spirit rain. Ning Cheng waved his hand, and the spirit rain essence filled with spiritual aura fell on Shi Qionghua's body. Shi Qionghua's life force grew stronger and stronger, and in less than an incense stick worth of time, Shi Qionghuo opened her eyes. The first thing she saw was Ning Cheng standing in front of her, causing her to burst into tears. But at this time, she had lost her cultivation and couldn't rush into Ning Cheng's arms. Ning Cheng had already reached out and hugged Shi Qionghuo. He then said softly, "Qionghuo, the past is the past. From today onwards, you will no longer have anything to do with the past." Shi Qionghuo couldn't even say a word. She just hugged Ning Cheng excitedly and cried. When she gave up on cutting off her feelings with Ning Cheng, her grand Dao broke, her life force dissipated, and her body turned into a statue. She thought that she would never see Ning Cheng again in this life. But even if she had to do it all over again, she would still do the same. If she couldn't miss Ning Cheng, then what was the point of living? If the heavenly Dao didn't abandon her, then she would still meet Ning Cheng one day. She could even give up on her grand Dao. So what did her past cultivation count for? It was just a fleeting cloud. She only wanted Ning Cheng. Chapter 1495. On this day, the entire Grand Essence realm cheered. Ning Cheng took Shi Qionghua's hand and landed on the mysterious yellow sect's main peak, the mysterious yellow peak. After completing the Grand Essence realm, he would immediately rearrange the Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting grand array. At this moment, most of the people from the mysterious Yellow Sect and the Grand Essence Dao Court had already arrived here. Li Feng even rushed ahead and spoke up with excitement, "Dao Monarch, you did it. You really did it. You've perfected our Grand Essence realm." Of the 5 great realms, except for the Tai Yi realm, which suffered very little damage and was almost unaffected by the laws of heaven and earth, the other 4 realms suffered varying degrees of damage. But now, only the Grand Essence realm was restored. Everyone knew that it was all thanks to Ning Cheng. It's not just me. Everyone has to work together to restore the Grand Essence realm. In a while, I will have to rearrange the Grand Essence realm's protective array, and I will need everyone's help. Ning Cheng cupped his fists. Ning Cheng didn't act pretentious. After all, this wasn't his work alone. Since he proposed to restore the Grand Essence realm, many people had been working hard to restore the Grand Essence realm. Whether it was the search for the 5 soils or the contribution of the mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan's annual ring tree. Dao Lord Ning, please feel free to instruct us. I believe that everyone, like me, is eager for the Grand Essence realm to be a cultivation holy land. River Luo Sacred Sect Master Wang Huazhong was the first to stand up and express his support. Although he didn't say anything about Ning Cheng becoming a Dao Lord, he felt extremely dissatisfied in his heart. But now, he and Ning Cheng were already standing on 2 different levels. Ning Cheng had repaired the Grand Essence realm. At this moment, he felt nothing but respect and worship for Ning Cheng. How many people could do what Ning Cheng did? How many people could stand at the same height as Ning Cheng in just a few 100,000 years? Okay, I'll ask all the Dao friends who are proficient in array formations to come out with me to arrange the barrier-protecting Grand Array. After Ning Cheng finished, he stepped out of the Grand Essence realm. Shi Qianghua knew that Ning Cheng wanted to complete the Grand Essence realm, so she didn't follow him. Moreover, she didn't have any cultivation now, so she didn't have the ability to follow them. Sister Qianghua, have you recovered? Luofei and Ruolan rushed over almost at the same time and supported Shi Qianghua. Sister Qianghua, Sister Luofei. At this time, Yan Ji walked in from the outside and spoke in a somewhat hesitant tone. Ji Luofei asked in doubt, Sister Ji, what's the matter? 9 Revolving Sacred Dao Pon's senior Shi Qianxi is here. She wants to see Sister Qianghua. Yan Ji hesitated for a moment, but still spoke up. As for the reason why Shi Qianghua had fallen to this point, Yan Ji was also very clear about it. Ning Ruolan's complexion turned ugly, however, she did not say anything. Ji Luofei quickly spoke up, then I will accompany Sister Qianghua to see Senior Master. Shi Qianghua showed a slight smile and spoke, no need, I will go by myself. Saying that, Shi Qianghua slowly walked out of the main hall. Just as Ning Cheng said, the past was already the past, and she had already experienced 10 reincarnations. She used her 10 lives to repay her mother's kindness. At this moment, she had no cultivation, and the 9 revolutions sacred Dao Pan no longer had anything to do with her. She was related to her husband and everything about her husband. Perhaps she only had one last life left. This was what she left behind to be with her husband, and she would never use it to prove the 9 revolutions of the divine path. Even after Ning Cheng repaired the Grand Essence Realm and perfected the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws, the Grand Essence Realm still rumbled. No one worried about this rumbling. As long as one was in the Grand Essence Realm, everyone understood that Dao Lord Ning was rearranging the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array. When Ning Cheng arranged the boundary-protecting Grand Array, it took him many years to perfect it. But at this time, Ning Cheng only needed a few people to help him. Then, he could control the entire Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting array foundation. Ning Cheng once again put in array flags, and all the people helping out could clearly feel the changes in the laws of space around them. These laws were extremely mysterious and no longer the same as before. One could be sure that if one wasn't proficient in this grand array and tried to attack it with brute force, no matter how powerful one's strength was, they wouldn't be able to break it open. The reason why Ning Cheng could arrange such a grand array was because of the tenacity of the chaotic inner realm. Given the tenacity of the chaotic inner realm, even if the 10 Tao Lords joined forces, they wouldn't be able to break it open. In the end, they had to rely on the good fortune indestructible axe. Ning Qing believed that the good fortune indestructible axe wouldn't be bored enough to attack the Grand Essence realm. When Ning Qing took out a piece of material and refined the entire Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting array core, even Kong Zai and Xin Yun exclaimed, "Brother Ning, is this the heaven-opening mother iron?" Xin Yun couldn't believe what he saw and asked, "Yes, this is the heaven-opening mother iron." Ning Qing nodded. He now used the heaven-opening mother iron to refine the entire Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting array core. Even if Qin Mutian came, he wouldn't be able to break the Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting Grand Array in a hurry. As long as the boundary protecting Grand Array was bombarded, he could tear through all boundaries and return to the Grand Essence realm in the shortest time possible. Kong Zai and Xin Yun sucked in a breath of cold air at the same time. Xin Yun even said, "Tao Lord Ning, you used the heaven-opening mother iron to refine the boundary protecting array core." This, Ning Qing naturally understood what Xin Yun meant. In Xin Yun's opinion, even the entire Grand Essence realm couldn't compare to this piece of heaven-opening mother iron. Ning Qing calmly said, "My sect, my friends, and my family are all in the Grand Essence realm. For me, no material is more precious than the Grand Essence realm." Chasing Bull had found this piece of heaven-opening mother iron. Ning Qing used half of it to refine the Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting array core to achieve the same level of toughness as the chaotic inner realm. Although it wouldn't be as good as the chaotic inner realm, it would be more than enough for a realm. Xin Yun bowed and said, "Brother Ning, Xin Yun has learned a lot. I finally understand why the few of us could only look for opportunities on the periphery when the gate of good fortune first opened and couldn't participate in the real competition. It turns out that our scope is too small, and our Tao insights have too many restrictions." When Ning Qing entered the heaven-opening mother iron's boundary protecting array core, the void around the entire Grand Essence realm made crackling sounds. A moment later, a mysterious aura surrounded the void around the Grand Essence realm. Everyone found that the moment Ning Qing closed the Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting Grand Array, the entire Grand Essence realm was enveloped by a powerful law. Even with their spiritual consciousness, they couldn't penetrate it anymore. As the Grand Essence realm's boundary protecting Grand Array closed, Ning Qing's voice resounded throughout the entire Grand Essence realm. The Grand Essence realm's laws have been restored, and the boundary protecting Grand Array has been perfected. From now on, you must use the Grand Essence Tao Court's Identity Tao Talisman to enter and exit the Grand Essence realm. I wish you all the best in the Grand Essence realm in the future and reach a higher level. Many thanks, Tao Lord Ning. I will remember Tao Lord's teachings. Countless thanks came from all corners of the Grand Essence realm, and each person who thanked him spoke with sincerity. Ning Qing had truly contributed to the Grand Essence realm without asking for anything in return. Unfortunately, Ning Qing didn't cultivate the Karma Tao technique. Otherwise, he would have received countless karma and hope powers. Tao Lord Ning, when are we leaving? After seeing Ning Cheng's earth-shattering means, Chang Xiang's respect for Ning Qing grew. At the same time, he also hoped that Ning Qing could go to the witch race as soon as possible. It would be best if he could reach an agreement with the witch race and help them return to the center of the universe. Wait for me to explain some things. Although the Grand Essence realm had been repaired and the Grand Essence realm's protective Grand Array had been rearranged, Ning Qing still wanted to take Luofei and the others with him. It's just that the Grand Essence realm had been perfected. It would be better for Yan Ji and Luofei to stay in the Grand Essence realm and cultivate rather than following him around. If their cultivations were lower, staying in the mysterious yellow bead would be better than cultivating in the Grand Essence realm. But whether it was Yan Ji, Luofei, or even Rulan, they had all stepped into the second step. Staying in the perfected Grand Essence realm to cultivate would be much better than cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead. Besides, the mysterious yellow bead didn't have all kinds of natural laws of the human Tao. As for his own realm, it hadn't been perfected yet. In fact, even if it was perfected, Ning Qing didn't intend to let Luofei and the others enter it to cultivate. What's more, the Grand Essence Realm had just been repaired, which made it the most suitable place for cultivation and enlightenment. Ning Cheng was sure that countless people would advance in the Grand Essence Realm in the near future. At this time, Ning Cheng wanted to explain some family matters. Therefore, everyone consciously chose not to follow him. Luofei, Sister Ji. Before Ning Cheng could say anything, Ji Luofei took the initiative to speak up. Husband, go ahead. The Grand Essence Realm has just been perfected. It's better for me to stay here. Brother, you don't know yet, but Sister Luofei is pregnant. Rulan spoke up before Ning Cheng could. Ning Cheng happily hugged Luofei. The higher one's cultivation, the more stagnant one's great Tao would be for a long time after becoming pregnant. After Luofei became pregnant, she didn't tell him because she was afraid that he would worry about her if he went out. Luofei, thank you for leaving me the inheritance. Although Luofei said that she wanted to have a child when she returned to the Grand Essence Realm with him. But now that Ning Cheng faced it for real, he realized the difference between having an inheritance and struggling alone. Husband, you can go with Sister Chionghua. I'll stay and take care of Sister Luofei. Although Luofei didn't need to be taken care of now, Yan Ji decided to stay. She didn't want to take advantage of the newly restored Grand Essence Realm to reach a higher level. Instead, she wanted to leave all of Ning Cheng's time with Sister Chionghua. Sister Chionghua had lost her cultivation, so she naturally needed to take care of her. Shi Chionghua suddenly spoke up, Husband, why are you going out this time? Ning Cheng naturally didn't hide it. In addition to going to the witch clan to ask about the situation in the Western universe, I also want to see an old friend. In addition, I also want to help Big Brother Tsang Wei. Zhu Yinghua is a cunning woman, and I'm afraid that Big Brother Tsang Wei will suffer a loss in her hands. Ning Cheng's worries weren't without reason. Tsang Wei was seriously injured and chased by Zhu Yinghua. Although Tsang Wei was a shrewd person, Zhu Yinghua's schemes were too powerful. In case Tsang Wei suffered a loss in Zhu Yinghua's hands, it would be too late for him to kill Zhu Yinghua. Husband, whether it's the Western universe or that Zhu Yinghua, none of them are ordinary people. The Grand Essence Realm has just been restored and is the best place for cultivation. Now that I've lost my cultivation, it's best for me to stay here. I believe that husband will come back soon. After Shi Chionghua rejected Shi Qianqi's offer to return to the Nine Revolutions sacred Dao Pond, everything in her heart was for Ning Cheng. Now that she had lost her cultivation, not only could she not help Ning Cheng, but she would also become a burden. Staying in the recently restored Grand Essence Realm to restore her cultivation was the best option. Didn't her husband say that if two people's feelings lasted for a long time, how could they stay together day and night? Chapter 1496. Dao Lord Ning, I have a locale ball to the witch clan. Should I lead the way, or? Chang Xiang said respectfully as soon as he came out of the Grand Essence Realm's defense array. Chang Xiang's meaning was that if Ning Cheng took him away, then their speed would definitely be a lot faster. At the very least, he had invited Ning Cheng to be his guest. Naturally, he could not ask Ning Cheng to take him away. Shi Chionghua, Luofei, and the others decided to stay in the Grand Essence Realm. Since the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws had just been restored, staying in the Grand Essence Realm to cultivate was naturally the best choice. What's more, the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array had already been set up, and the array heart of the Boundary Protection Grand Array was refined from the Heaven Opening Mother Iron. Furthermore, Kong Zai, Shin Yun, Ao Kan, Shao Xinxi, and a few other third-step experts were protecting him. Even if Qin Mutian came, it would not be easy to open it in a short time. If he had the time, he would have already received the news and returned. Taking a step back, how many people in the entire universe were as ruthless as Qin Mutian? Because of this, Ning Cheng felt relieved to let Shi Chionghua and the others stay in the Grand Essence Realm to cultivate. It's not that he didn't think about building a channel between his realm and the Grand Essence Realm. But Shi Chionghua rejected the idea as soon as it was put forward. Although Shi Chionghua had lost her cultivation, she was only a step away from reaching the third step. She naturally knew that Ning City's domain was not yet stable, and it was not a good thing to establish a void passage between their own domain and the outside world. Not only would it make his own realm more unstable, but it would also be very dangerous when he teleported across the void. Taoist Chang Xiang, there's no hurry to go to the witch tribe. I have something more important to do. Ning Qing said. If you want to go there, I don't have much to do. I'm willing to accompany you. Chang Xiang hurriedly said. His main task was to bring an expert like Ning Qing back to the witch tribe as a guest and build a good relationship with Ning Qing. Why were the wizard tribe chased away like drowning dogs? Was the sorcerer tribe weak? Definitely not. Back then, the sorcerer tribe had countless experts. Even if they did not cultivate their spiritual force, they were still one of the strongest tribes in the entire universe. The most important reason why the witch tribe had fallen to such a state was that they had no friends. If the sorcerer tribe had had the help of their friends back then, the sorcerer tribe would not have fallen to this state. After leaving the sorcerer tribe for countless years, Chang Xiang understood this principle better than anyone else in the tribe. In the past, people from the sorcerer tribe had looked down on those who cultivated their divine will. Now, the sorcerer tribe had also begun to cultivate their divine will. The place I'm going to is called the Blackwater World. I'm going there to find someone. Ning Qing did not hide anything. There would be a life-and-death battle between him and Xing Shi sooner or later. Although he had fused with the primordial Dao runes, Xing Shi would definitely be able to obtain them and fuse with them. After that, it was hard to say who was stronger and who was weaker. Xing Shi's fatal weakness was that the green lotus of good fortune had yet to be perfected. Now that he was free, he naturally wanted to take this opportunity to take the green lotus of good fortune from Chu Wujian. Having another card in his hand was always a good thing. Dao Lord Ning, I've heard of the Blackwater World. I'll accompany you there. Chang Xiang was indeed a person who had seen the world in the void. As soon as Ning Qing mentioned the Blackwater World, he immediately understood. Ning Qing brought out the starry sky wheel and said, in that case, come on up. After Chang Xiang boarded the starry sky wheel, the starry sky will cut through the void and disappeared from the periphery of the Grand Essence realm. Ning Qing feared that he couldn't find the Blackwater World because his strength was too low. At this time, Ning Qing had reached the third step through cutting Dao creation, and then used the primordial Dao runes to merge with the world. His strength had already reached the peak of this universe. Although the Blackwater World was hidden, he no longer needed Xiao Xinxi to lead the way. With his spiritual consciousness, he could directly pass through several positional planes and find traces of the Blackwater World's movement. Then, he could directly chase after it. A few days later, Ning Qing and Chang Xiang stopped. In front of them was a void filled with rolling black mist. The two waited for less than an incense stick worth of time before a huge black planet quickly appeared in the range of their spiritual consciousness. Chang Xiang stood up and prepared to follow Ning Qing into the Blackwater World. Although the black water in the Blackwater World was highly toxic and had a terrifying spatial compression. But with Chang Xiang's cultivation, he didn't care about these things. When the huge black planet quickly passed by in front of the two, Ning Qing still didn't move. Chang Xiang looked at Ning Qing with some doubt and asked, Dao Lord Ning, we just passed by the Blackwater planet. Ning Qing nodded and said with a solemn tone, I know, but we don't have to go now. Let's go to the witch clan now. Okay, I'll show the way, Chang Xiang said with joy. For him, the Blackwater World was just an accompaniment for Ning Qing. If Ning Qing didn't want to delay, then he wouldn't have any objections. Ning Qing indeed didn't want to delay. When his spiritual consciousness fell on the Blackwater World's planet, he knew that Chu Wujian wasn't there. Chu Wujian had a fragment of the good fortune azure lotus, but he didn't stay in the Blackwater World. The biggest possibility was that Xing Shi had found Chu Wujian. Ning Qing had seen Chu Wujian's strength and knew that he was quite strong. But compared to Xing Shi, Chu Wujian still fell far short. Moreover, after Xing Shi merged with the primordial Dao runes to merge with the world, the gap would only worsen. From the bottom of his heart, Ning Qing didn't want Xing Shi to find Chu Wujian. If it was as he guessed and Xing Shi found Chu Wujian, it meant that Xing Shi's good fortune azure lotus was about to be perfected. Once the good fortune azure lotus was perfected, the gate of good fortune would open. The reason why the gate of good fortune hadn't opened yet was that Xing Shi deliberately didn't perfect the azure lotus. She was waiting for an opportunity to control the opening of the gate of good fortune. It would be best if Chu Wujian found another way to hide the aura of the good fortune azure lotus and leave the Blackwater world. Ning Cheng also knew that this was just his wishful thinking. Dao Lord Ning, if I came back by myself, it would take at least a few years. When Ning Cheng brought Chang Xiang to the outside of the witch realm in just a month, Chang Xiang couldn't help but speak up. He was sure that if Ning Cheng hadn't brought him along, they would have arrived in the witch realm in a shorter time. If Ning Cheng hadn't brought Chang Xiang along, he would have torn the void by himself and would have arrived in just a few days. If he left the witch realm and returned to the Grand Essence realm, he would have taken even less time by tearing the domain's plane. Dao friend Chang Xiang has amazing potential. You've just started cultivating spiritual sense. In the future, Dao friend Chang Xiang will definitely be able to do the same. Ning Cheng spoke modestly. His spiritual consciousness had been observing the surroundings of the witch realm. The witch realm could be said to be at the edge of the five-element universe. Beyond that was a dark void without any rules. One couldn't cultivate in such a place. Even if there were some planets, it was uninhabitable. It was no wonder that Chang Xiang was so eager to return to the center of the universe. The witch clan was struggling at the edge of the realm, which greatly limited their development. Dao Lord Ning, I'll take you to the divine Magus Palace to see the witch realm's ancestor emperor. While speaking, Chang Xiang had already stepped into the witch realm with Ning Cheng. Chang, who is he? As soon as Ning Cheng and Chang Xiang stepped into the witch realm, a person landed in front of them. Chang Xiang quickly said, Xian Ping, this is Dao Lord Ning Cheng from the Grand Essence realm. He's a guest that I specially invited. Don't be rude. Then, Chang Xiang introduced Xian Ping to Ning Cheng. Dao Lord Ning Cheng, Xian Ping is a general under the witch realm's ancestor emperor. Because I don't know you, I'm a little rude. Please forgive me. Hearing Chang Xiang's respect for Ning Cheng, Xian Ping frowned. He knew Chang Xiang's pride because he was the only witch clan member who had gone out to see the world and participated in the first battle of the Gate of Good Fortune. Therefore, Chang Xiang had the right to be proud. Who was this Dao Lord Ning Cheng? What kind of small place was the Grand Essence realm? Why did Chang Xiang treat him with such respect and even bring him to see the ancestor emperor? Chang Xiang, I'm afraid it's against the rules for you to bring a stranger to the ancestor emperor. Xian Ping didn't step aside because of Chang Xiang's words. He even changed the way he addressed Chang Xiang to his full name. Clearly, Chang Xiang was very polite to such a young guy, which made him very dissatisfied. Moreover, Ning Cheng's strength made him a little afraid. Before figuring out the origin of such an expert, he absolutely couldn't go to the ancestor emperor. Chang Xiang's face sank. Xian Ping really didn't give him any face. Did he think it was easy for him to invite Dao Lord Ning Cheng? Brother Xian, Brother Chang Xiang, who is this? Just as the two were in a deadlock, a clear voice sounded. Chapter 1497. Hey, you're here at the right time. Chang Xiang smiled when he saw the woman. Just like him, Ji Hei had seen the outside world of the shaman tribe. Although her cultivation level was not as high as Xian Ping's, she was much more knowledgeable. If Ji Hei was here, she would definitely be on his side. Ning Cheng had heard about Ji Hei from Chang Xiang. Yu Qing had escaped from Xing Shi's cave abode because of Ji Hei. Now that he heard Chang Xiang call her Hei, he immediately asked, Daoist Chang Xiang, is she Ji Hei? Xing Shi brought her to the heaven-suppressing pillar. Chang Xiang quickly replied, yes, she is Ji Hei, the descendant of ancestor Ji. Brother Chang Xiang, what's going on? Ji Hei looked at Chang Xiang and Xian Ping in confusion before looking at Ning Cheng. After saying this, Ji Hei's expression also became a little grave. She had been with Xing Shi for a long time and could feel that Ning Cheng was very powerful. He might even be stronger than Brother Chang Xiang. Where did Brother Chang Xiang find such an expert? Hey, Chang Xiang brought an unfamiliar cultivator to see the ancestor emperor, but I stopped him. This doesn't conform to the rules at all. If anyone can meet the ancestor emperor, then wouldn't our sorcerer tribe become a low-level market? Xian Ping did not give him any face at all. There was still a trace of anger in his words. Ji He frowned slightly. Brother Chang Xiang, this is indeed against the rules. Chang Xiang did not expect Ji He to say the same. He immediately said angrily, Hey, why do you say that? Don't you know that the witch tribe hides in a corner? Besides potential, we also lack friends. Dao Lord Ning Cheng is a friend I invited. Don't be so suspicious of friends. Ji He slowed down and said, Brother Chang Xiang, I know you're right. But have you forgotten the two people who came to the witch realm? They said they were friends of the witch tribe when they came, but what happened? Chang Xiang snorted and said, that Yi Zifeng looks like a cunning person. How can he compare to Dao Lord Ning? I've been to Dao Lord Ning's realm and he was very polite to me. Now that I've invited Dao Lord Ning to my witch tribe as a guest, your suspicions are really disappointing and a joke to our guests. Under Chang Xiang's anger, these words were directly spoken out in front of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng waved his hand, motioning Chang Xiang not to get angry. He then cupped his fists towards Ji He and said, Dao friend He, I heard from Dao friend Chang Xiang that Xing Shi plotted against you, and you ended up sacrificing yourself to the heaven-suppressing pillar. Without waiting for Ning Cheng to finish, Ji He spoke up, that's right. Xing Shi did send me to the heaven-suppressing pillar as a sacrifice. However, it wasn't an ambush. I wasn't her match at all, and she easily took me away. Ning Cheng had to ask again, I heard that you came out because of a woman called Yu Qing. I would like to ask where Yu Qing is now. Do you want to see Ancestor Emperor or Yu Qing? Ji He was only a little vigilant towards Ning Cheng, but when she heard Ning Cheng mention Yu Qing, her expression no longer remained vigilant, but turned into one of intense wariness. Ning Cheng said politely, Yu Qing and I are friends, and I came here mainly to see her. At the same time, I am also very grateful for Dao friend Chang Xiang's enthusiasm. I want to become friends with the witch race, so I also want to meet Ancestor Emperor Witch. Chang Xiang wanted Ning Cheng to become a friend of the witch race. Ning Cheng said this to express his friendship, and also to achieve his goal of meeting Ancestor Emperor Witch race in a tactful way. Ji He glanced at Chang Xiang with some dissatisfaction before saying to Ning Cheng, Dao friend Ning, I'm afraid it won't go as you wish. Sister Qing is now in seclusion, and she won't see anyone. If it weren't for Yu Qing, Ji He wouldn't have been able to restore her body. She might still be chained to the heaven-suppressing pillar by Xing Shi. Moreover, she knew from Yu Qing that Yu Qing didn't have any relatives who were as powerful as Ning Cheng. There should only be one reason why Dao Lord Ning came to see Yu Qing, and that was because he heard about Yu Qing's beauty. Then, he used his strength to befriend Ancestor Witch and take Yu Qing as his dual cultivation Dao companion. Ning Cheng looked at Chang Xiang. If it weren't for Chang Xiang, his spiritual consciousness would have directly penetrated all the restrictions of the witch race that blocked spiritual consciousness. Sha Sun is here to see Dao friend Hong. Chang Xiang was just about to speak when a deep voice came over. Everyone present heard it clearly. After hearing this voice, whether it was Xian Ping, Chang Xiang, or Ji He, they all revealed cautious expressions. Then, Xian Ping said to Chang Xiang, I'll report to Ancestor Emperor. You go and stop this person. Ji He stopped Xian Ping. There's no need to report. This person's voice can probably be heard by the entire witch world. Ancestor Emperor will naturally know. Ning Qing didn't speak. He was just wondering what this Sha Sun had to do with the fat monk he killed in the chaotic inner realm. In fact, even before Sha Sun spoke, Ning Qing already knew that this person had come. He also knew that this person's Dao charm aura was somewhat similar to that of the fat monk. Xian Ping, Chang Xiang, you two come with me to see Dao friend Sha Sun. An extremely old man's voice fell. Grandfather. Ji-hei quickly stepped forward when she saw this old man. The old man nodded to Ning Cheng before smiling at Ji-hei. Hey, this Dao friend is a guest from afar. Take him to the guest hall to have a seat. Yes. Ji-hei didn't dare to slack off in front of this old man and quickly responded. Before Chang Xiang left, he said to Ning Cheng, Dao Lord Ning, this is my witch race's ancestor Ji. We're going to see Dao friend Sha Sun. We'll be back in a while. Dao friend Ning, please forgive us. Ning Cheng smiled. It's fine. Dao friend Chang Xiang, please go ahead. He could guess that this Seisun who spoke had an extraordinary background. Otherwise, Chang Xiang wouldn't have left him alone to see Sha Sun since he was a guest specially invited by Chang Xiang. One had to know that Chang Xiang knew that he had fought against the mysterious yellow holy master and even had the mysterious yellow bead. This Sha Sun's aura was similar to that of the fat monk. It was very likely that he was someone from the Western universe. Dao friend Ning, please. Ji-hei made a guiding gesture to Ning Cheng. Her tone was flat without much enthusiasm. Apparently, she was doing this because of Ancestor Ji's instructions. Ning Cheng didn't care and just asked, who is this Sha Sun? Ji-hei didn't hide anything from Ning Cheng and said indifferently, I don't know. I only know that he's from the Western universe. Now you can say it. Why are you looking for Sister Qing? If you have other ideas, please leave my witch race as soon as possible. Although my witch race lives in a remote corner, it's not a place that anyone can bully. You won't believe what I say. You just have to call Yu Qing to meet me or take me to see her. She'll naturally tell you who I am. With Ji-hei's attitude, Ning Cheng knew that no matter how much he tried to explain, it would be useless. Ji-hei didn't even bother to reply to Ning Cheng and just walked ahead. Ning Cheng felt helpless. Yu Qing was indebted to the witch race. He couldn't just fight his way in, right? He could only wait for Chang Xiang to come back and explain to her. After half an incense stick's time, Ji-hei brought Ning Cheng to a guest hall. She then poured Ning Cheng a cup of spirit tea and sat on the side, staring at Ning Cheng. Although she was accompanying him in name, she was actually monitoring him. Ning Cheng wasn't in a hurry. Since he had come to the witch race, he would eventually be able to see Yu Qing. If the witch race really wanted to stop him from seeing Yu Qing, he could only use force. Another incense stick's time passed, but there was still no news of Chang Xiang. Ning Cheng stood up. Before he could say anything, Ji-hei also stood up. Dao friend Ning, are you leaving? Let me send you out. Ning Cheng frowned. Before he could speak, another clear voice came, Xing Shi is here to look for someone. Please come out and meet her, Dao friend Hong. Ka ka, Ning Cheng clenched his fists together, producing a burst of Dao charm sounds. This was really wearing out iron shoes in fruitless search, but this woman came looking for him. He didn't even need to ask to know why Xing Shi was here. It was 100% for Yu Qing. Apart from that, she also wanted to take Yu Qing away to threaten him. Sure enough, after Ji-hei heard Xing Shi's name, her face suddenly turned pale. She even forgot to stop Ning Cheng from leaving. Sacred Lord Green Lotus, the witch race's ancestral emperor is at the Divine Magus Palace. Please follow me. A witch race woman had already come out to greet her. Although Xing Shi had captured Ji-hei as a sacrifice to the heaven-suppressing pillar, the witch race still didn't dare to offend this woman. This woman was too strong, so strong that she could fight against the entire witch race alone. Xing Shi's face was cold. She stepped on the green lotus petal and said expressionlessly, in that case, lead the way. Dao friend Ning, please wait. Ji-hei finally reacted and hurriedly stopped Ning Cheng who had already walked to the door. Ning Cheng stopped. Ji-hei was indeed rescued by Yu Qing, but Yu Qing was also rescued by Ji-hei. Moreover, he didn't want to make things difficult for the witch race. If Ji-hei was willing to lead the way, he wouldn't have to break into the Divine Magus Palace by himself. That would be for the best. Are you really Sister Qing's friend? To Ning Cheng's surprise, Ji Hei asked a question that had nothing to do with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng nodded and said with certainty, "That's right, I'm really Yu Qing's friend. If you don't believe me, you can take me to see Yu Qing." "I believe you. Let's go, I'll take you to see Sister Qing. Hurry up and follow me." With that, Ji Hei had already walked far away. Others might not know how powerful Xing Shi was, but she knew all too well. Even the #1 expert of the witch race, Ancestor Di Hong, might not be a match for Xing Shi. Now that Xing Shi had come to the witch race, she must be looking for her and Yu Qing. This Dao Lord Ning in front of her did not look weak. If he really knew Sister Qing, she would let him secretly take Yu Qing out of the witch race. Otherwise, the witch race would definitely hand Yu Qing over. Once they did, Yu Qing would suffer a fate worse than death. This was the reason why Ji Hei changed her mind at the last minute and wanted to take Ning Cheng to see Yu Qing. Chapter 1498. Holy Lord Green Lotus, please. Before Xing Shi reached the entrance of the Divine Magus Palace, Ancestor Ji came out to welcome her. The green lotus under Xing Shi's feet turned into a green mist and circled around her. Then, she casually stepped into the Divine Magus Palace. Ancestor Ji's expression didn't change, but he was overjoyed. No matter how strong Xing Shi was, the Divine Magus Palace wasn't a place she could casually enter and exit. "Holy Lord Green Lotus, it's our honor to have you graced us with your presence." A middle-aged man greeted her with a bright voice. This middle-aged man's black hair was tied to his shoulders, and his aura was solid. He was like a huge mountain, giving off a steady aura. Xing Shi stopped, glanced at this middle-aged man, and said blandly, "You must be the ancestor of the Divine Magus Di Hong, right? You live up to your reputation." The middle-aged man laughed. "Compared to Sacred Lord Green Lotus, my reputation is far inferior. It's not even worth mentioning." Xing Shi sneered. How could she not understand what Hong was implying? The Sacred Lord Green Lotus that Hong was talking about might not necessarily be her. There was a hidden meaning in his words, and it was full of sarcasm. Xing Shi said blandly, "Thank you, Ancestor Hong, for thinking highly of me. My strength is nothing in the Divine Magus Palace. I heard that the Divine Magus Palace is one of the 3 supreme treasures of the Divine Magus Palace. I hope Ancestor Hong won't hide it from me and show it to me." After saying that, Xing Shi walked past Hong Zhu to the seat of honor in the hall and was about to sit down. Ancestor Di Hong and Ancestor Ji's faces turned ugly when they heard what Xing Shi said. They thought that Xing Shi entering the Divine Magus Palace meant that the Divine Magus Palace had a weakness. They didn't expect that she knew what this place was and walked in without hesitation. She clearly didn't take the Divine Magus Palace seriously. In the Divine Magus Palace, a few powerful Wu clan warriors stood up as well. A monk, who was wearing a huge string of prayer beads on his chest, saw Xing Shi walking in, and his eyes instantly shone. He stood up as well, walked towards Xing Shi, cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, goddess. Sha Sun, may I know your name?" He had come for Yu Qing, but he didn't expect to see a woman who didn't look any weaker than Yu Qing. This woman was simply perfect. If she and Yu Qing were to be brought back, then Seisun was even imagining how others would envy him. At this moment, he just wanted to laugh out loud. What Sacred Lord Green Lotus? It wasn't like Sha Sun hadn't seen Sacred Lord Green Lotus before. Are you a disciple of the Western Cosmos Holy Buddha Chu Pu? If an ordinary person dared to look at her like this, Xing Shi would have already blasted him with a green lotus Tao radiance. However, she did not dare to offend the Western universe's sage Buddha Chu Pu. Seisun hurriedly said, "That's right, I'm the 4th under the Holy Buddha." Xing Shi nodded. "So it's a revered person beneath the Holy Buddha. I've heard a lot about you." While speaking, Xing Shi waved her hand, and a terrifying Dao rune pressure surged towards Sha Sun. Just as Seisun was about to speak again, he felt a terrifying aura suppressing him, making it difficult for him to even breathe. In the blink of an eye, Xing Shi had already walked to her seat and sat down. Seisun sucked in a breath of cold air. This woman was too powerful. He was sure that he was no match for this woman. If the two of them fought, he would definitely pay a heavy price. Given his current strength, it would be too difficult for him to reach the height of this woman in front of him. The reason this woman had made him retreat was not because she was afraid of Saison, but because of the Western Buddha behind him. At this thought, Saison's expression changed a few times before he sat down silently. Forget it. With this woman called Yuqing around, this trip was not in vain. This scene had happened in a very short time, but everyone who could sit there was a supremacy expert of the witch race. Ancestor Di Hong and Ancestor Ji had clearly seen the action between Saison and Xing Shi, and the corners of their mouths twitched. Even an arrogant fella like Saison did not dare speak nonsense in front of this woman. Yuqing is far inferior to her. Ancestor Ji sent a voice transmission to Ancestor Di Hong somewhat dispiritedly. The witch race had always treated Yuqing kindly. Apart from being Ji Hei's savior, the most important thing was Yuqing's strength. After Yuqing had attained the third step, they had always thought that she would not be much weaker than Xing Shi, who had taken away He. Now, it seemed like they had been wishful thinking. Yuqing's strength and Xing Shi's were not on the same level at all. Ancestor Di Hong's heart sank. If he could not protect Yuqing, he would do everything he could to protect He. Xing Shi's strength had indeed far exceeded his expectations. It was no wonder that she was not afraid of the divine Magus Palace. Sacred Lord Green Lotus and Supremacy Saison are both distinguished guests of the witch race. Ancestor Di Hong changed his strategy instantly. He could not offend an expert like Xing Shi, at least not now. The witch race had just started cultivating their spiritual force. As long as they were given time, they would eventually be able to produce experts who were not inferior to Xing Shi. Before Ancestor Di Hong could finish speaking, Xing Shi raised her hand and waved, interrupting him. Daoist Hong, I'm here to take Yuqing away. As for being a guest, we can naturally talk about it after I see her. Ancestor Di Hong was secretly angry and slightly relieved when he heard Xing Shi's words. Xing Shi had only said that she wanted to take Yuqing away, not He. This meant that there was still room for negotiation. If Xing Shi wanted to take Ji He away, the witch race would not agree no matter what. There would definitely be a huge battle. Ancestor Ji knew very well what Hong was thinking. Xing Shi was so powerful, and the witch race's strength was rising. It was not a wise move to fight with an expert like Xing Shi over an outsider. However, for the sake of the witch race's reputation, they could not just do whatever Xing Shi said. I wonder who Yuqing and Sacred Lord are? Ancestor Ji asked despite knowing the answer. When the experts of the witch race heard Ancestor Ji's words, they lowered their heads in shame and anger. Xing Shi had taken the disciples of the witch race away as sacrifices to the sky-suppressing pillars. Now that she was here, the witch race was not thinking about revenge, but worried that she would take Ji He away again. What could be more sullen and humiliating than this? Xing Shi knew what Ancestor Ji meant. She did not want to fall out with the witch race for the time being. The Gate of Destinies was about to open, and she did not want to waste any energy for anything. She did not put the witch race in her eyes, but she would definitely suffer some losses if she wanted to exterminate the witch race. Moreover, Reverend Saison, the fourth of the Western Universe's Buddha Lord, was here. She did not know what relationship he had with the witch race. Yuqing is my disciple. Because of some misunderstandings with me, I want to bring her back after I come out of seclusion, Xing Shi said calmly. Ancestor Ji revealed a look of realization and said, so that's the case. That's naturally not a problem. Xian Ping, go and call Yuqing over. Yes. Xian Ping immediately walked out. Chang Xiang hurriedly said, Emperor Ancestor Ji, Yuqing is. Ancestor Ji naturally knew what Chang Xiang wanted to say. He waved his hand and stopped Chang Xiang's words. Chang, don't interfere in other people's family matters. Sacred Lord Green Lotus is extremely powerful, so there is naturally no need for you to say anything. Chang Xiang seemed to have thought of something and did not say anything. After all, he had not seen the battle between Ning Cheng and Sacred Lord Black Yellow. He was just guessing to Ning Cheng. Moreover, he did not know how much cultivation Sacred Lord Black Yellow had left. If Ning Cheng was far from being able to defeat Sacred Lord Green Lotus, wouldn't he be leading the witch race to the abyss if he wholeheartedly helped Ning Cheng? Although Chang Xiang was willing to make a friend like Ning Cheng from the bottom of his heart, he still stood on the witch race's side when it came to the fate of the witch race. Just now, when Sacred Lord Green Lotus raised her hand, that Dao rune aura suppressed Sha Sun. Even Dao Lord Tai Su and Ning Cheng would not be able to achieve such strength. Sacred Lord Green Lotus, Dao friend Hong, I came to the witch race for Yu Qing. Even if Sha Sun was not Xing Shi's opponent, he had to speak up. Otherwise, if Xing Shi took Yu Qing away the moment she arrived, what else could he say? I can't touch you, Sacred Lord Green Lotus, but I can't even take Xing Shi away now. I, Sha Sun, am not as good as you, but I am also the fourth under the Western cosmos. Hearing Sha Sun's words, Ancestor Di Hong and Ancestor Ji looked at each other and fell silent. They could not wait for Sha Sun, Sacred Lord Green Lotus, and Xing Shi to fight. Xing Shi's gaze fell on Sha Sun, and she said slowly, You want to take my disciple back to be a human cauldron? Sha Sun frowned. What human cauldron? I sincerely admire Fairy Yu Qing and want to become Dao companions with her so that we can support each other. I, Sha Sun, am the fourth under the Buddha Lord. How can I do something like a human cauldron? Xing Shi did not get angry. Instead, she smiled. That's my fault, Dao friend Sha Sun. Yu Qing is my disciple. Even if you want to become Dao companions with Qing, it's not too much for me to ask about it, right? Even if you become husband and wife in the secular world, the woman has to investigate the man's current situation. Sha Sun looked at Xing Shi in confusion. What did Sacred Lord Green Lotus mean? Did she agree to let me become Dao companions with Yu Qing? Otherwise, why would she say that? Of course it's not too much. I hope Sacred Lord Green Lotus can fulfill my wish. Sha Sun instantly reacted. Xing Shi really wanted to give Yu Qing to him as a Dao companion. Xing Shi nodded. It's not impossible for you to want Yu Qing to be your Dao companion. I can agree. You are the fourth under the Western Buddha Lord after all. Do you want to take my disciple away empty-handed? Sha Sun was overjoyed. Sacred Lord Green Lotus clearly agreed to let him take Yu Qing away. He hurriedly stood up and cupped his fists at Xing Shi, about to give her a series of benefits. At that moment, a cold voice was heard. My Dao technique has nothing to do with yours, Sacred Lord Green Lotus, Xing Shi. You didn't teach me anything either. It's not up to others to decide whose Dao companion I want to be. Ha ha. Xing Shi laughed out loud. Yu Qing, do you think that you can trample me under your feet just because you reached the third step? Are you looking down on me? I'm going to make the decision today. After saying that, Xing Shi looked at Sha Sun and said, Sha Sun, since you want my disciple to be your Dao companion, let's see what you're capable of. As long as you can take her down, you can immediately enter her room and become Dao companions. As for the betrothal gift, we'll talk about it after you become Dao companions. Sha Sun was overjoyed and immediately said, Thank you, Sacred Lord Green Lotus. He could naturally see that there was something wrong with Yu Qing and Sacred Lord Green Lotus. There was no master-disciple relationship between them. However, he didn't care about this at all. He just wanted Yu Qing to be his cultivation vessel. Chapter 1499. Yu Qing stared at Xing Shi and didn't even look at Lord Seisan, who was walking over. She said in a cold tone, Xing Shi, you're more vicious than the most vicious person I've ever seen. You took me out of Jiangsha City just to make me sacrifice to the heaven-suppressing pillar for you. A shameless and vicious woman like you doesn't deserve to talk about a master-disciple relationship. Xing Shi didn't get angry at all and still said calmly, There's one thing you didn't say. I was going to turn you into a flower fertilizer. The flowers planted by a beautiful woman like you must be extremely beautiful. What kind of expression do you think your man would have if I took you into a flower and gave it to him? Yu Qing's hands trembled in anger, but Xingshi glanced at Seisan. Does Lord Seisan not like my disciple? Why haven't you done anything yet? Seisan laughed and raised his hand. The prayer beads on his chest turned into 24 shadows, which faintly formed an illusory prayer bead space. At the same time, he said, since I, Seisan, have taken a fancy to this woman, how can I not do anything? By this time, he already knew that Yu Qing and Xingshi weren't master and disciple, but rather had a deep hatred between them. Yu Qing clenched the green sword in her hand. She knew very well that since the witch clan had brought her here, it meant that they no longer cared about her life and death. She didn't blame the witch clan, as her strength had long stood at the peak of the witch clan. She also knew that even if she reached the third step, she was still far behind Xingshi. Even if she died, she would never become a monk's cultivation furnace or Tao companion. There was only one person in her heart. For that person, she had left behind 10 ice walls in the time wilderness and frozen to death. That person had also burned Jiangsha City to death for her. Since she couldn't bring him back to life, what was wrong with dying again? Seisan, you're nothing. Even if Sage Buddha Chu Pu came, he would be the same in my eyes. A clear voice came, and then a young man in a blue robe walked into the divine Magus palace. With just one voice, the aura of the Tao charm completely bound Seisan's 24 prayer beads, making it impossible for them to move forward. Tao Lord Ning. Chang Xiang was originally standing, but when he saw Ning Qing come in, his face became a little unnatural. Ning Qing had already said that he and Yu Qing were friends, yet he did not help Yu Qing at all. Ning Qing did not care about it at all, he and Chang Xiang just wanted something from each other. Chang Xiang was not his friend, so he was not disappointed. If Shisan Xing or a friend like Tai Shu Shi were here, even if they knew that they would die, they would still help Yu Qing. You're still here. Yu Qing on seeing Ning Qing was so excited that her hands started to tremble. When Ning Qing appeared, she immediately knew that Ning Qing did not die. That kind of aura could not be changed. She would never forget it. Ning Qing walked over and spoke in a soft voice, I'm fine. Although it was also a reincarnation, it was somewhat different from an ordinary reincarnation. I only lost my cultivation. Otherwise, how could a mere mortal fire do anything to me? Wanderer. Yu Qing only managed to call out these 2 words, before she could no longer speak, as she fell into Ning Cheng's arms. After she knew that Ning Cheng was Wanderer, she had already made her choice. In the sea of twilight, Wanderer carried her on his back step by step. In the endless passage of time, it was Wanderer who took her across the dusk and saw the beautiful dawn. At the edge of the cracked glacier canyon, it was Wanderer who sent her to the edge of the transmission array, and then fell into the glacier. Even if she reincarnated, it was Wanderer who came back, rescued her from the fire, and replaced her to enter the fire to be burned to death. For him, she left behind 10 ice walls, to remember the kindness of a strange wanderer to her. For him, she cultivated crazily, hoping that one day she could save Wanderer again, and then wander the vast void with him. That wanderer was called Ning Cheng, and she once thought that Ning Cheng had already fallen. She regretted it more than once. When Ning Cheng found her in Jiangsha City, she still doubted him. If she could do it all over again, she would have become his woman in that Yu clan's attic. Now that she saw him standing in front of her again, what regrets did Yu Qing have? What did she, Yu Qing, have to hesitate? She feared that she could not stay by Wanderer's side forever. Yu Qing. Ning Qing felt the surging excitement of Yu Qing in his arms. He felt that even if he died immediately, he would have no regrets. Something flowed in his heart. A woman who could return to the time wilderness for a stranger like him and then leave behind 10 ice walls, what kind of pure heart did she have? Who are you? Sha Sun glared at Ning Cheng. If it weren't for Ning Cheng's strength, suppressing his Buddha beads with his imposing aura, he would have already attacked. Xingshi also stood up. She did not speak and kept staring at Ning Cheng. When Sha Sun asked, she spoke up, this person's name is Ning Cheng. He has always coveted my disciple, but I didn't expect him to come here today. I originally wanted to marry my disciple to Reverend Sha Sun, but this person obviously wants to destroy the friendship between me and Buddhist Master Chu Pu. Xing Shi, you're shameless. Yu Qing felt Sha Sun's killing intent, and she immediately remembered what she and Ning Cheng were facing. Like Ji Hei, she also knew about Xing Shi's strength. This was a woman so powerful that it made people feel desperate. She had just stepped into the third step and was far from being Xing Shi's opponent. Even if I'm shameless, it's still better than a woman hugging a man in public and asking for sex. Xing Shi sneered. She didn't even have half a sacred master's demeanor. Ning Qing patted Yu Qing's shoulder, motioning her not to be too angry. He then looked at Xing Shi and said, presumably, you should have refined that primordial chaos Dao charm, right? Do you think that you can be arrogant in front of me after refining the primordial chaos Dao charm and stepping into the convergence realm? I could cut you in half back then, and I can do it now. Xing Shi said in a calm voice, indeed, I chased you until you had nowhere to run and had to flee to Jiaoyang Mountain. Today, I can still chase you until you have nowhere to run. Oh, by the way, I'm afraid you won't have a chance to escape today. The Divine Magus Palace is one of the 3 supreme treasures of the witch race. Now that you've entered the Divine Magus Palace, do you still want to leave? Xing Shi didn't seem afraid of Ning Cheng at all. In fact, she hadn't expected that Ning Cheng would refine the primordial chaos Dao charm no slower than her. Xing Shi had originally thought that she had taken more than 100,000 years to integrate the primordial chaos Dao charm, which was considered very fast. The reason she had come to the witch race as soon as she had integrated the primordial chaos Dao charm was that she was afraid that Ning Cheng would be one step ahead of her. In the end, whatever she was afraid of happened. Although Ning Cheng wasn't one step ahead of her, he wasn't much slower than her. This thought flashed in Xing Shi's mind. So what if Ning Cheng had also integrated the primordial chaos Dao charm? Xing Shi had obtained a great opportunity when she had integrated the primordial chaos Dao charm, so she didn't believe that she couldn't defeat a mere Ning Cheng. Everyone in the witch race remained silent. Ancestor Di Hong only then realized that Yu Qing had such an expert behind her. If he had known that Ning Cheng had the strength to fight against Xing Shi, the witch race wouldn't have acted like a villain and handed Yu Qing over so easily. Now that Xing Shi and Ning Cheng had yet to determine the winner, even if Xing Shi brought up the matter of the Divine Magus Palace to drag the witch race down, he wouldn't say a word of nonsense. Even Ji Hei, who had come with Ning Cheng, kept her mouth shut. She knew that Ning Cheng was very strong, but she hadn't expected him to be strong enough to fight against Xing Shi. You're Ning Cheng, and I'm Sha Sun, the 4th seed of the Western Universe's Buddha Lord. After hearing the conversation between Ning Cheng and Xing Shi, coupled with the fact that Ning Cheng was far stronger than him, Sha Sun wanted to use the Western Universe's Buddha Lord to regain some face. Ning Cheng's gaze shifted from Xing Shi to Sha Sun. He suddenly took a step forward and raised his hand to slap. Is the Western Universe's Buddha Lord that amazing? Slap, slap, slap. A few clear and unmistakable sounds rang out. Every sound that fell into everyone's ears was like a huge hammer striking their hearts. It was hair-raising. Everyone in the witch race stared at Ning Cheng. Was this person crazy? He actually dared to slap the 4th seat of the Western Universe's Buddha Lord. This was simply courting death. Even if the 5 sacred masters joined forces, they wouldn't dare to do this, right? If it weren't for her fear of the Western Universe's holy Buddha Chu Pu, how could Xing Shi be so polite to Sha Sun? Even if he could fight against Xing Shi, he wasn't qualified to provoke the Western Universe's holy Buddha Chu Pu. You. Sha Sun almost went crazy with anger. When had he ever been bullied like this? The 24 Buddha beads seemed to have gone crazy at this moment. They broke free from Ning Cheng's aura suppression and turned into 24 rays of Buddha light that blasted towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth and said calmly, finally, it's a bit more like it. Otherwise, I would have been very disappointed. While talking, Ning Cheng raised his hand and grasped. An ice-cold space appeared and wrapped around the 24 rays of Buddha light. At the same time, Ning Cheng sent out a kick, which directly landed on Sha Sun's chest. Everyone could only hear the miserable sounds of bones breaking and flesh collapsing. Sha Sun truly felt afraid this time. Ning Cheng, you can't kill me. I'm the fourth venerable under the Buddha Lord. Ning Cheng laughed. How many times have you said it, idiot? Even if Holy Buddha Chu Pu came to me in person, so what? I will still kill those who should be killed. While talking, Ning Cheng opened his hand, and a spear intent shot out, directly nailing Sha Sun to a huge pillar in the divine Magus Palace. So what if he was under Holy Buddha Chu Pu? It wasn't the first time he killed a disciple of Holy Buddha Chu Pu. When he killed the fat monk, Ning Cheng didn't feel as mellow as he did now. In just a short time, Ning Cheng clearly felt that his realm had stabilized a lot compared to when he had just joined the Three Realms realm. Moreover, his attacks had become much easier. The entire divine Magus Palace turned silent. Ning Cheng killing Sha Sun was already a big deal. What was even more frightening was that Ning Cheng killed Sha Sun as easily as killing an ant. Even Xing Shi might not be able to achieve such a realm, right? Chapter 1500. Chang Xiang sighed in his heart. He regretted it. If he had known that Ning Cheng was this powerful, he would not have hesitated to stand up and help Yu Qing. Xing Shi's eyebrows also jumped. She had seen Ning Cheng's move the most clearly. How could Ning Cheng be so powerful after fusing with the primordial Dao charm? She was sure that Ning Cheng's cultivation was more stable than hers after merging with the two realms. Sure enough, those who obtained the 5 treasures of fortune were not simple. It was ridiculous that Xianhuang Gaian and Yi Ji wanted to snatch the treasures from Ning Cheng and Yemo. These two wanted to raise pigs, but ended up raising themselves as pigs. Senior apprentice brother wanderer. Yu Qing reacted and looked at Ning Cheng in shock. She had seen Sha Sun once. He was very powerful, and she was not his opponent. Now that Ning Cheng killed this guy easily, didn't it mean that Ning Cheng did not fear Xing Shi at all? Ning Cheng raised his hand and stopped Yu Qing. Yu Qing, just call me Ning Cheng from now on. I disguised myself as Wanderer for. Well, I'll call you Big Brother Ning. Don't call me by my name directly. It makes me feel distant. You can call me Little Qing or Qing-er. Okay, then I'll call you Little Qing. Well, Qing-er is also fine. Yu Qing had reincarnated once and was no longer the young girl who did not dare to confess her love. For her, there was only one opportunity. If she missed it, she might have to wait for the next lifetime, or maybe never again. She missed it once in Time Wilderness and a second time in Jiangsha City. Would she miss it a third time? Even if there were many people around, she would not feel shy or embarrassed. There were indeed many people in the witch race's divine Magus Palace. No one felt that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing's display of affection was inappropriate or funny, nor was anyone willing to congratulate them. For the witch race's ancestor emperor and the rest, they did not care about the relationship between Ning Cheng and Yu Qing, but about the upcoming disaster. The Western Universe's Buddha Lord Chu Pu's fourth venerable Sha Sun was killed in the witch race. Even if the witch race did not participate in it, the witch race could not escape from this matter. If the one who killed Sha Sun was not powerful, it would have been better. They could have joined forces to take Ning Cheng down and send him to Chu Pu. In fact, even Sacred Lord Green Lotus couldn't say anything about Ning Cheng's strength, let alone the witch race. In short, the sorcerer tribe could not be offended. Since they could not afford to offend either side, the Magi were caught in a dilemma. What was even more difficult was that this Tao Lord Ning Cheng had nothing to do with the witch race. In other words, after the sorcerer tribe killed Sha Sun, they could just leave and clean up after the sorcerer tribe. Since you're done showing off your love, let me, Xing Shi, see how much Tao Lord Ning has improved after obtaining the primordial Tao runes. Xing Shi took a step forward. A green lotus suddenly condensed under her feet, and a blood-red sword floated in front of her. Xing Shi had successfully refined the primordial Tao runes and fused the realm. With the creation green lotus protecting her and the Avicii sword attacking, she indeed had enough capital to deal with anyone. Among the 5 treasures of good fortune, the Golden Page World and the mysterious yellow bead were treasures of the world's laws. They were extremely tough and difficult to break. Apart from that, it was also very helpful for its owner to cultivate and comprehend various great Daos, improving and purifying its owner's aptitude. The Good Fortune Indestructible Axe was the most offensive Dharma treasure and had the highest offensive power among the 5 treasures. The Creation Green Lotus was a Dharma treasure with both offensive and defensive capabilities, although it was not as tough as the mysterious yellow bead and the Golden Page World. Its defensive effect in battle was definitely stronger than that of the mysterious yellow bead and the Golden Page World. In addition, the Creation Green Lotus also had a powerful offensive ability. As for the Good Fortune Jade Disc, it had always been one of the most mysterious treasures. No one knew how powerful the Good Fortune Jade Disc was. This was because the Good Fortune Jade Disc had never been obtained by a second person, and its owner, Daoist Zixiao, was also a mysterious figure. After the Good Fortune War, the other 4 people who owned the 5 treasures of good fortune were either dead or injured. Their Dharma treasures were also damaged and were scattered in the vast universe. Only the Good Fortune Jade Disc and its owner were safe and sound. Ning Qing motioned for Yu Qing to step back. Although Yu Qing had reached the 3rd step and her strength was considered outstanding in the witch tribe, it was still not enough compared to Xing Shi. Yu Qing also knew that she could not help much. She took a step back and still stared at Xing Shi's Avici sword. She knew very well how strong Xing Shi was. When Xing Shi took her to tear apart various planes, she did not think much of it. Now that she had reached the 3rd step, she knew how terrifying Xing Shi was back then. The current Xing Shi was countless times stronger than she was back then. Even though Ning Cheng had easily killed Sha Sun, she was worried that Ning Cheng could not defeat Xing Shi. Ning Cheng's gaze fell on Xing Shi's green lotus, which was still missing a petal. He did not know if Xing Shi had deliberately not repaired the petal after obtaining it or if she had not obtained it. No matter what, he had met Xing Shi today. Even if he could not kill her, he would still severely injure this woman. With a wave of his hand, the Creation Divine Spear fell into Ning Cheng's hand. The great and violent spear intent descended, and the entire Divine Magus Palace seemed to be filled with a murderous aura. All the experts of the witch race were silent. These 2 people were fighting in the Divine Magus Palace, the most precious treasure of the witch race, but no one from the witch race dared to speak. This was the sorrow of the witch race. What shocked them even more was that Ning Cheng had casually killed Sha Sun without even using his Dharma treasure. This long spear with astonishing power should be Ning Cheng's real Dharma treasure. When the Tao runes of the 2 collided and the space began to distort, the ancestor emperor of the witch race finally could not help cupping his fists and saying, "Sacred Lord Green Lotus, Tao Lord Ning, this is where the Divine Magus Palace of the witch race is located. Please take into account that the witch race did not neglect you and move to the void outside to fight." The ancestor emperor could not help but worry. His strength was far inferior to Ning Cheng and Xing Shi, but it did not mean that his eyesight was inferior to theirs. Once the 2 of them fought, even the Divine Magus Palace would not be able to withstand their monstrous auras. After the Divine Magus Palace was destroyed, the entire witch world would face destruction next. Ancestor Emperor Hong was sure that Ning Cheng and Xing Shi were not weaker than the 5 sacred lords back then. They might even be stronger. How many realms and planes had been destroyed in the creation war back then? Even the Jiaoyang mountain had been cracked. Once the 2 of them fought with all their might, the witch world might face the danger of disintegration. The witch world indeed wanted to go out, but it had not gone out yet. Once the witch world was destroyed, the witch race would not even have a place to live. This was a small matter. If the witch world was destroyed, how many disciples of the witch race would die? Perhaps after this battle, the witch race would really be wiped out from the 5-element universe. Moreover, the unknown Tao Lord Ning and the 2nd-generation Sacred Lord Green Lotus were already so terrifying. Could the witch race leave with this bit of strength? Xing Shi acted as if she did not hear Ancestor Emperor Hong's words. The Tao runes around her became even more majestic, and the aura of the Tao runes rose continuously like raging waves. Ji Hei also understood the consequences of the two of them fighting here. The witch race's ancestor emperor clearly could not control experts like Ning Cheng and Xing Shi. She hurriedly walked in front of Yu Qing and pleaded softly, "Sister Qing, can you talk to your big brother?" Yu Qing understood what was going on when the ancestor emperor asked the two of them to stop fighting. She hurriedly stepped forward and shouted, "Big brother Ning, let's fight this woman after we leave the witch world." The witch race had been kind to her. Even if the witch race could not bear the pressure and pushed her out, she would not forget that it was the witch race who had taken her in. Ning Cheng nodded. He did not have a good or bad impression of the witch race. This was not the chaotic void, and the heaven-earth laws were not as solid as the chaotic void. Once he and Xing Shi fought here, the witch world was likely to shatter, and billions of living beings would disappear. Ning Cheng restrained his aura, lifted Yu Qing, and stepped out of the Archmagus Palace. When Xing Shi saw Ning Cheng step into the Archmagus Palace, she also stepped out. However, she did not wait for Ning Cheng to intercept her outside the witch world. She directly lifted her hand and tore the void of the witch race's realm, stepped into the void, and disappeared. That woman escaped. Everyone in the witch race looked at the void that Xing Shi had torn apart and looked at each other. Xing Shi was one of the 5 sacred lords after all. How could she escape from Tao Lord Ning? She escaped. Yu Qing did not expect that Xing Shi, one of the 5 sacred lords, would escape without fighting. Ning Cheng did not chase after Xing Shi. He knew that Xing Shi was not afraid of him escaping. This woman was scheming. The reason why she escaped without fighting was probably because she had not completely stabilized after merging the realms. In addition, the Gate of Fortune was about to open, and she did not want to be injured before it opened. Of course, the most important thing was that after feeling her strength, she knew that she could not do anything to him. Unfortunately, the idea of severely injuring this woman had failed. Forget it, let's go to the witch race again. I have a few things to ask that ancestor Emperor Hong. No matter how much Ning Cheng wanted to kill Xing Shi, he knew that it would not be easy for him to catch up with her. Xing Shi's worries were also his worries. Xing Shi was not the only powerful opponent he faced. Witch race's ancestor Hong greets Tao Lord Ning. This was Ning Cheng's second time stepping into the witch race's territory. Ancestor Hong personally greeted him, his tone respectful and polite. He had seen Ning Cheng's strength with his own eyes. Even Sacred Lord Green Lotus was afraid to escape. What right did the witch race have to offend Tao Lord Ning? Tao Lord Ning, my witch race has neglected you before. Please forgive us. Ancestor Ji also hurried to Ning Cheng to ask for forgiveness. Behind him was Chang Xiang, who looked ashamed. He had spent a lot of effort to invite Ning Cheng to the witch race as a guest. However, so many things had happened in between. He had failed to befriend Ning Cheng. He really could not find a target to scold. Ning Cheng nodded. Under Ancestor Hong's lead, he entered the witch race and sat down. Ancestor Hong, the reason why I came to the witch race, other than to meet my friend, is that I have a few things to ask you. Ning Cheng sat down and said politely with cupped fists. Hong hurriedly stood up. Tao Lord Ning is my witch race's honored guest. If you have any questions, I will tell you everything I know. If Tao Lord Ning likes me, you can just call me Tao friend. Ancestor Hong knew that Ning Cheng would not call him Tao brother, so he simply called him Tao friend. Chapter 1501. Ning Cheng didn't bother to beat around the bush and said directly, I heard that Sha Sun, the one I killed before, was the 4th under Holy Buddha Chu Pu. Ancestor Di Hong's mouth twitched. What do you mean by, heard? You said it to Sha Sun several times, yet you still heard it. Now that Ning Cheng asked, he didn't dare to answer back. He still pretended to have heard it and replied politely, that's indeed the case. Sha Sun was the 4th under Holy Buddha Chu Pu. He had a very noble status in the Western universe. Oh, is Holy Buddha Chu Pu very powerful? Ning Cheng asked casually as he picked up the teacup. Ancestor Dihong didn't care about Ning Cheng's nonchalance and said cautiously, I haven't seen Holy Buddha Chu Pu, but his strength shouldn't be any weaker than Dao Lord Ning. Ning Cheng looked at Ancestor Dihong's expression and knew that the other party didn't really mean what he said. Perhaps in Hong's heart, his cultivation was far inferior to the Buddha Lord of the West. Ning Cheng didn't care. He came here to inquire about information. Holy Buddha Chu Pu could fight against 5 elements sacred master and didn't die, which meant that he must be very powerful. He wouldn't believe it if someone said that he was far inferior to the Western Buddha Lord. In the Western universe, Holy Buddha Chu Pu is the master. I heard that 3 of the 9 venerables under him perished during the creation war, leaving only 6 venerables. Wait. Ning Cheng raised his hand and interrupted Hong. Dao friend Hong, you said that 3 people died in the Great Creation War. Didn't Holy Buddha Chu Pu participate? Hong replied, when the Great Creation War started, the Buddha Lord indeed didn't participate. It's not that he didn't want to participate, but I heard that he was seriously injured and couldn't participate at all. Who could injure him? Ning Cheng had already guessed what was going on, but he still asked. Hong explained with a respectful expression, before the creation Great War begins, there will be an even more terrifying war. Those who participated in that war were the most powerful powerhouses from countless planes. Among them were 5 elements Sacred Master, Styx River Heavenly Venerate, Light and Darkness Sacred Master, Palace Master Limitless, Daoist Zixiao, and Holy Buddha Chu Pu. Daoist Zixiao also participated in that war. Ning Cheng originally wanted to ask if the war started because of the World Tree, but when he heard about purple clouds, he could not help but put aside his original question. Hong nodded and said, I heard that when the battle started, only Daoist Zixiao was watching from the side and didn't intervene. The other experts fought until the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Even the planes and universes turned into dust. In that battle, the 5 elements Sacred Lord had been heavily injured, and it was rumored that he had died. Sage Buddha Chu Pu was also heavily injured in that battle and almost died. After all these years, he must have recovered from his injuries. What about Sacred Master Light and Darkness, Palace Master Limitless and Heavenly Venerate Styx River? Ning Cheng asked again. Hong shook his head. I'm not too sure either. According to the information passed down by the ancestors of the sorcerer tribe, these people were all severely injured. As for the outcome, I don't know. What is the purpose of this battle? The information Ning Cheng got from Shen Yun was not necessarily reliable. Because of this, Ning Cheng wanted to confirm it with Hong. Hong didn't answer directly but asked Ning Cheng, I wonder if Dao Lord Ning has heard of the Chaos Realm? Ning Cheng nodded. I've heard of the Chaos Realm, and I've even been there. Is it related to the Chaos Realm? Yes, it is indeed related to the Chaos Realm. The Chaos Realm is the core of the vast universe when it first separated. There are top-notch treasures there. When the vast universe first separated, the Chaos Realm had 4 good fortune treasures. They are the Good Fortune Mysterious Yellow Bead, the Good Fortune Indestructible Axe, the Good Fortune Golden Page and the Good Fortune Green Lotus. Ning Cheng interrupted Hong's words again. Dao friend Hong, good fortune is not the 4 treasures, but the 5 treasures. Hong smiled slightly. Good fortune is indeed the 5 treasures, but the Good Fortune Jade Disc already had an owner when the universe first separated. That owner is Daoist Zixiao. This Zixiao has such a great origin. Ji Hei couldn't help but exclaim. Hong seemed to be afraid that Daoist Zixiao would hear his discussion. He suddenly cupped his fists towards the void and said, the universe is divided into 5 treasures. Sacred masters run all over the sky. The West has Buddha Lord and Styx River has Xiao Tuesday. If you ask who is the master of the sky, Zixiao is the first. Ning Cheng's expression changed. He had always thought that Daoist Zixiao was one of the owners of the 5 treasures. He was also one of the owners of the 5 treasures, which meant that he was on an equal footing with everyone else. Ning Cheng didn't expect Daoist Zixiao to have such a great origin, even before the universe. Even if it was just a rumor, it was still a bit outrageous. Dao friend Hong, that sacred master shouldn't be referring to the 5 great sacred masters, right? Ning Qing thought that itinerant E.G. and Xianhuang Gaian might not be qualified to be included in this ballad. Hong chuckled. They aren't qualified. This sacred master refers to the 5 elements sacred master, light and darkness sacred master, and the Western sacred master. Without waiting for Ning Qing to ask, Hong took the initiative to explain, the West not only has sacred Buddha Chu Pu, but also a sacred master. He is also a powerful person, but there has been no news of him since. Ning Qing didn't need to ask anything to understand what was going on. The Western sacred master Chu Pu must have been a peerless powerhouse. With such a powerful existence in the West, how could they allow another sacred master to appear? Only one of the two could survive. Now that there was only one sacred master left, the outcome had already been decided. Dao friend Hong, please continue to talk about what happened in the Chaos Realm. Ning Qing could tell that Lai Hong didn't want to talk about the grievances between Western sacred master and Buddhist master. Hong nodded and added, the most precious treasure in the Chaos Realm is not the 4 treasures of creation, but a tree. Ancestral Emperor, are you talking about the Chaos Tree? Ji Hei couldn't help but ask. She had heard of the Chaos Tree too. No, this tree is called Builder Wood. Back then, when the 5-element sacred master had obtained the world tree, even though the 4 treasures of creation had escaped from the chaotic inner realm, he had still focused all his energy on the world tree. It's just that the world tree's aura is too powerful. Even with 5-element divine lord's strength, he wasn't able to completely conceal the world tree's aura. In the end, many experts were attracted. Did these people fight in the chaos inner realm? Ning Qing immediately thought of the creation wood nail in the chaos inner realm. Hong sighed and said, if we were in the chaos realm would have been smashed into pieces long ago. The 5-element divine emperor knew that the chaos realm had an extremely important treasure, so he deliberately stayed away from the chaos realm. Although that great battle took place in the endless void, it destroyed too many domains and planes. I heard that the 5-element divine emperor couldn't defeat the enemy in the end, so he turned the world tree in his hands into countless world tree nails to attack the enemy. That's why both sides suffered heavy losses. Ning Qing secretly nodded. The world tree nails in the chaos inner realm should have penetrated the chaos inner realm when the 5-element divine emperor attacked. Thinking of this, Ning Qing felt even more shocked. He knew how hard the chaos inner realm was and how powerful its laws were. If not for the good fortune indestructible axe and the cooperation of many experts, the chaos inner realm wouldn't have been able to break through. Yet, the 5-element divine lord's world tree nail could break through the endless void and enter the chaos inner realm. How powerful was he? No wonder the world tree nail wasn't discovered elsewhere. Without the obstruction of the chaos inner realm, the world tree nail might have already passed through the endless void and the universe. Who knew where it would end up? After that battle, the vast universe fell silent. Later on, the 5 great sacred masters and the 10 great Tao lords rose. Hong fell silent after speaking. How many hot-blooded battles had taken place in the vast universe? How many experts had fought over them? However, there was no sign of the witch race. So, the first time the gate of good fortune opened was after the rise of the 5 great sacred masters and the 10 great Tao lords? Ning Qing asked. He finally understood why no supreme-level experts like the Western Buddha Lord had come when the gate of good fortune had opened. Hong replied, yes. Rumor has it that after the 5 treasures of good fortune were gathered, the gate of good fortune would open. The 5-element divine lord obtained the world tree and the other 4 treasures of good fortune escaped. In fact, it means that the gate of good fortune is about to open. Ning Qing cupped his fists towards Zhu Dihong and said, many thanks, Dao friend Hong, for dispelling my doubts. I have one last question to ask. I wonder if Dao friend Hong knows where to enter the Western universe from. How far is it from here? Although he didn't ask Xing Shi to stay, Ning Qing still felt that he had gained a lot this time. The things that Zhu Dihong mentioned were things that he didn't know before. These things held great significance to him. Hong suddenly stood up and bowed to Ning Cheng with cupped fists. The Western universe isn't that far from my witch race. My witch race is at the edge of the five-element universe. If we enter from this edge, with Tao Lord's speed, I estimate that we can reach the Western universe in a few decades. After saying this, Hong's expression became even more respectful. Tao Lord Ning, you know that my witch race is weak. The fourth Buddha Lord, Saisen, died in my witch race's divine Magus palace. My witch race can't explain this matter even if we have a lot of mouths. I hope that Tao Lord Ning can explain it to my witch race. Even if you leave behind a crystal ball. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. No wonder Hong was so humble. It turned out that he was afraid of taking responsibility. It would be best if he stayed in the witch race to bear the consequences. However, Hong didn't dare to say this out loud. Therefore, he only dared to ask him to leave behind a crystal ball. Hong probably wanted him to curse the Western Buddha Lord in the crystal ball so that the witch race could get away with the crime of killing Saisen. Hong wasn't a good person. If he hadn't come in time, even if Xing Shi hadn't come, Yu Qing would have been taken away by Saisen. Even if Hong wanted to protect the witch race, he still felt unhappy that Yu Qing had been thrown out to be used as a cultivation vessel. Ning Cheng stood up and said indifferently, so to go to the Western universe, we have to pass through here. However, no one has been to the Western universe before. Dao friend Hong, you must have heard about it, right? The void at the edge of the universe isn't even as good as the chaotic void. There's no direction, so I don't think anyone will enter it. When Hong saw Ning Cheng stand up and immediately leave, he panicked. He hurriedly stepped forward and said, if the five-element universe wants to go to the Western universe, they indeed have to pass through our witch race. Not long ago, two people passed through the witch race and escaped into the void at the edge of the universe. Oh yes, my witch race has a realm monitoring array. As he spoke, Hong waved his hand and turned into a void screen. Ning Cheng sighed. This witch race was really a cultivation genius. He didn't cultivate his spiritual force. How long had it been since he started cultivating his spiritual force? Ancestor Di Hong's spiritual force was also so powerful. Wait. Dao friend Hong, show me the image of the two people who escaped again. Ning Cheng stared at the void screen and said excitedly. The two people who escaped were very blurry, but Ning Cheng felt that one of them looked like Zhang Wei. Chapter 1502. The image was replayed once again, this time Ning Cheng could see it clearly. He was sure that it was indeed Zhang Wei. Following behind Zhang Wei was a woman, presumably Zhu Yinghua. Although Ning Cheng could not see the extent of Zhang Wei's injuries from the images, but through the images, Ning Cheng was sure that even if Zhang Wei was not injured, he would not be a match for Zhu Yinghua. Zhang Wei chose to enter the Western universe, not by accident, but because Zhu Yinghua had forced him into a corner and forced him to flee to the Western universe. After understanding this, Ning Cheng didn't want to delay any longer. He cupped his fists towards Ancestor Di Hong and said, Dao friend Hong, I'm going to the Western cosmos now. May I ask if Dao friend Hong has the void positional ball to the Western cosmos? You want to go to the Western cosmos? Hong looked at Ning Cheng in shock. Not only did he kill Sha Sun, but he also wanted to go to the Western cosmos. Did he want to die? Before Ning Cheng escaped, he had intended to give him an excuse to let the Wu tribe get rid of the crime of killing Sha Sun. As long as he humbled himself, then with Ning Cheng's strength, he would definitely not let others take the blame for him killing Sha Sun. Unexpectedly, not only did Ning Cheng not escape, but he also went to the Western cosmos. Only after a while did Ancestor Di Hong wake up. He quickly took out a crystal ball and handed it to Ning Cheng. Dao Lord Ning, this is the void positional map to the Western cosmos. One more thing, if the witch tribe from the Western universe comes to question Sha Sun. Ning Cheng waved his hand, Dao friend Hong, if they come looking for you, just say that I killed Sha Sun. The sorcerer race's monitoring array also had this kind of method. Ning Cheng guessed that the scene of him killing Sha Sun was also recorded by the sorcerer race. However, because his Daoist rhymes were strong, the image was a little blurry. Other than that, the sorcerer tribe wanted him to admit it personally. They were afraid that once the sorcerer tribe revealed his identity, he would seek revenge on the sorcerer tribe in the future. Even if Hung didn't warn him in advance, Ning Qing wouldn't have come to take revenge on the sorcerer tribe. Since he had killed Sha Sun, he wasn't afraid that the Western Buddhist Lord would come looking for him. Many thanks, Tao Lord Ning. Hung finally felt relieved when he heard Ning Cheng's promise. Ning Qing spoke to Yu Qing, "Little Qing, wait for me in the witch clan. I'll be fine." Although Ning Qing had never met Holy Buddha Chu Pu, he could roughly guess that this Buddha Lord wasn't someone simple. Once they went over, it was very likely that there would be a huge battle. If he wanted to take Yu Qing with him, then he would have to leave Yu Qing in the mysterious yellow bead. Otherwise, he wouldn't be of much help. Yu Qing shook her head and did not speak. No words could express her firmness. Now that she met Ning Qing again, even if the west faced a mountain of blades or a sea of fire, as long as Ning Qing went, she would go with him. Looking at Yu Qing's appearance, Ning Qing knew that it would be useless to try and persuade her again. Since that was the case, then he might as well take Yu Qing with him. Without any hesitation, he grabbed Yu Qing's hand and said, "Then let's go together. Fellow Taoist Hong, farewell." Saying that, Ning Qing took a step forward and disappeared with Yu Qing. This person is so strong. Ancestor Di Hong only spoke in a low voice after Ning Cheng's aura completely disappeared. Ancestor Ji looked at Chang Xiang. "Chang, since he's such an expert, why didn't you send a message back first?" Everyone understood what Ancestor Ji meant. If they sent the message first, the witch tribe would only need to hesitate a little bit before handing over Yu Qing. Then, they would most likely become friends with Ning Cheng. In fact, the sorcerer tribe did not hesitate to hand over Yu Qing. Almost as soon as Xing Shi mentioned Yu Qing, he immediately handed her over. Chang Xiang sighed. "I know that he's very powerful and can even repair a realm and build a reincarnation passage. I heard that the mysterious yellow bead is with him and that the mysterious yellow Gaian is not his opponent." Ancestor Di Hong snorted. "Since you know that he's so powerful, why are you still hesitating?" Chang Xiang said helplessly, "After all, I didn't see it with my own eyes. That Tao Lord Ning looks very young. Moreover, I was blocked by Xian Ping on the way to bring Tao Lord Ning to see the Ancestor Emperor, which delayed me for some time. Then, Sacred Lord Green Lotus came and displayed her powerful strength. That made me a little uncertain." Everyone fell silent. They couldn't say that Chang Xiang was wrong. Sacred Lord Green Lotus could crush Sha Sun's strength. If they were in Ning Cheng's shoes, they probably wouldn't help him either. The witch tribe was currently weak. If they weren't careful, they would be annihilated. "Big brother, carry me. This speed is too slow." After leaving the witch tribe, Yu Qing, who was beside Ning Cheng, couldn't help but say this. She knew that even though Ning Cheng was carrying her, it still severely limited his speed. Ning Cheng didn't hesitate. It wasn't the first time he carried Yu Qing. Yu Qing, who was lying on Ning Cheng's back, suddenly felt happy. She blew on the back of Ning Cheng's neck and spoke, "Big brother Ning, do you know where we had our first intimate contact? Was it in the Sea of Twilight?" Ning Cheng immediately thought of the scene in the Sea of Twilight. At that time, he had to carry Yu Qing on his back for a few years. "No." Yu Qing whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, "The first time was in that cabinet. Do you remember the room of Orchid Burrow Celestial River's Imperial Concubine Wang?" Ning Cheng suddenly understood, "So that woman was you?" At that time, he and Jing Wuming had gone to Imperial Concubine Xian Yu's room at her invitation. Unexpectedly, Orchid Burrow Celestial River King suddenly came back. Jing Wuming hid under Imperial Concubine Xian Yu's bed. He didn't want to get under the bed and ended up hiding in the cabinet. At that time, there was a woman in the cabinet. He still remembered that when Orchid Burrow Celestial River King and Imperial Concubine Xian Yu were intimate, the chest of that woman on his back had turned hard. If not for his concealment cultivation method, he might have been exposed. He had been wondering who that woman was, but he didn't expect it to be Yu Qing. At that time, Yu Qing changed her name to Shenqinyu and planned to head to the Time Wilderness. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng's heart started to heat up. I originally planned to team up with you in the Time Wilderness. However, due to a freak combination of factors, I ended up teaming up with Wanderer. I really did not think that Wanderer would turn out to be you. I think that the heavens definitely wanted us to be together. Yu Qing's voice was soft and weak. She could also feel the strangeness in Ning Cheng, big brother Ning. What I regret the most is that I did not give myself to you in that loft. If you want, we can now. He raised his hand and grabbed the void crystal ball. Sweeping out with his spiritual consciousness, he directly tore open the void positional plane in front of him and escaped inside. After we find Big Brother Tsang Wei. Tsang Wei was currently being chased by that woman, Zhu Yinghua. Moreover, he did not know what would happen to him. As such, he did not have the time or the mind to do anything else. Yu Qing's voice was almost inaudible. No matter how shy she was, she couldn't stop her love for Wanderer. Because she had enough of that kind of parting, she would rather stay on Ning Cheng's back than let Ning Cheng send her into a worldly weapon. Ning Cheng tore open one positional plane after another, and every step he took, he had to cross several void boundaries or positional plane obstacles. Ancestor Di Hung of the witch race believed that Ning Cheng would need decades to reach the Western universe from the witch race, but that was already an exaggeration. In his opinion, Ning Cheng would need at least 100 or 200 years to reach the Western universe. However, he still underestimated Ning Cheng's strength. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could easily penetrate several positional planes. In just a few months, Ning Cheng tore open a universe's boundary and appeared in a vast universe. Is this the Western universe? Yu Qing, who was behind Ning Cheng, scanned the surrounding space with her spiritual consciousness in amazement. Ning Cheng nodded with affirmation. This must be the Western universe. The void around here is filled with a heaven and earth law that I have never seen before. I'm sure that Tao Lord Karma has a close relationship with the Western universe. Ning Cheng had seen Tao Lord Karma before and had even felt Tao Lord Karma's attack. Big brother, are you saying that the Western universe also cultivates the Tao of Karma? Yu Qing asked. I don't think so. I guess that Tao Lord Karma's Tao of Karma is a branch of the Western universe's cultivation method. Ning Cheng hesitated before speaking. Ning Cheng wasn't talking nonsense. The Western Buddha master had a great reputation and was definitely not a simple person. Ning Cheng had also seen the Tao of Karma before. With his strength, Tao Lord Karma's Tao of Karma couldn't affect him. If the Western Buddha beads only cultivated the Tao of Karma, how could they have the strength to fight against Sacred Master 5 elements? Let's find someone to ask first. After Ning Cheng finished speaking, he tore open another void boundary and landed on a verdant planet with Yu Qing. This planet also had a star-protecting Grand Array, but after Ning Cheng stepped into the star-protecting Grand Array, the array formation didn't react at all. It was because the level of this star-protecting Grand Array was too low compared to Ning Cheng's Tao of array formations. So many monks! Yu Qing exclaimed after following Ning Cheng to the planet. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness also swept out and found that there were indeed many monks. Almost 80% of the cultivators here were monks and nuns, and a few of them were dressed in strange costumes. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing dressed normally. It wasn't that there weren't any of them here, but there were very few of them. Let's go to the Shirtong Buddhist country in front of us. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already swept through the planet. Apart from the various temples and holy nunneries, there were only various Buddhist countries. Among them, the Shirtong Buddhist country was the largest. The Shirtong Buddhist country's defensive array was even stronger than the planet's defensive array. The 4 giant words Shirtong Buddhist country, wrapped in Tao charm, floated outside the defensive array. The Western universe was so vast that if he wanted to find Tsang Wei, he couldn't rely on his spiritual consciousness. Chapter 1503. There was no one guarding the entrance to the Shirtong Buddhist kingdom's array gate, but there was a huge incense burner with smoke lingering around it. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing stepped through the array gate and entered the Shirtong Buddhist kingdom. They immediately felt a powerful power of hope aura. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. This was truly a good place to cultivate the power of hope. Actually, this is a city. After the two entered the Buddhist kingdom, Yu Qing whispered to Ning Cheng. Yu Qing was right. Rather than calling this place a country, it would be better to call it a city. There were rest stops, merchant houses, and makeshift markets in the city. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing only glanced at a few merchant houses and understood that the most popular thing here was not medicinal pills, but incense. With Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, he could easily tell that these were all kinds of incense used for cultivation. Not only did they contain all kinds of precious heavenly treasures, but they also contained the aura of various laws of heaven and earth. In fact, this incense had the same effect as medicinal pills, which only assisted in cultivation. This Tao friend, please wait a moment. A sudden voice sounded. When Ning Cheng saw the person quickly pass him and catch up with a nun in front of him, he understood that this person wasn't calling him. I thought they would call me Buddhist friend. The longer Yu Qing and Ning Cheng stayed together, the more carefree she felt. Even her speech had changed a little from before. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. When they leave the Western universe, they also call me Tao friend. Whether it was Sha Sun or the fat monk, they all addressed each other as Tao friends. Even if they were Buddhist cultivators, they were still a part of the great Tao of heaven and earth. The one who caught up was a well-built monk. The nun who was being chased stopped in her tracks. Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh. This nun was so beautiful. She had a plump chest and a snow-white skin. As if to set off her figure, this nun deliberately wore a slightly tight-fitting robe. Excuse me, is senior apprentice brother calling me? The nun stopped and looked at the strong monk with a smile. The strong monk grinned. Yes, the Shirtong Buddhist kingdom is looking for the best woman. Before the strong monk could finish, the beautiful nun spoke up in surprise. Are they going to select women to participate in this time's Venerable Joy Buddhist banquet? So you already know. The strong monk quickly responded. The beautiful nun spoke with a yearning expression. I've admired Venerable Joy Buddhist banquet for a long time, but I don't know if I have the chance to be selected. If I can get revered Joy's favor, I... Towards the end, his tone was so agitated that he didn't even know what to say. You'll always have a chance if you go. Let's go, I'll take you to register. The sturdy monk said immediately. He was obviously very optimistic about this charming nun with a plump chest and buttocks. Ning Cheng finally understood that Venerable Joyous Joy was going to hold a Buddhist banquet, and many women wanted to attend Venerable Joyous Joy's Buddhist banquet. This nun came to Shirtong Buddhist kingdom to try her luck. She probably hadn't even registered yet, but someone had already taken the initiative to approach her. Yu Qing also understood what was going on. She spat. None of these Western monks are good. Ning Cheng just smiled and did not speak. This kind of thing was something that both parties were willing to do. There was no such thing as good or bad. It was unknown whether it was because of Yu Qing's spit that attracted the monk's attention, or because of some other reason. The monk turned his head. When he saw Yu Qing standing beside Ning Cheng, his face suddenly showed a pleasantly surprised expression as he gave out an sound. This woman was too beautiful, too perfect. The reason why he didn't notice it before was because the woman's clothes weren't eye-catching. But now that he looked back, he was pleasantly surprised. This nun was not bad, but compared to Yu Qing, it was like the difference between a chicken and a phoenix. This is the registration jade card. You can take it directly to the Great Hall of Desire to register. Seeing this, the monk took out a jade card and stuffed it into the nun's hand. He then quickly took a few steps back and arrived in front of Ning Cheng and Yu Qing before cupping his fists and saying, "Two Tao friends, please take your time." Ning Cheng didn't wait for the monk to speak and raised his hand to stop him. "We have no interest in Venerable Joyous Joy's Buddhist banquet. Please get out of the way." "Wait, this Tao friend, you have such a beautiful face. As long as Venerable Joyous Joy sees you, you will definitely obtain a great opportunity." The monk didn't take Ning Cheng's words to heart. He didn't want to invite Ning Cheng, but Yu Qing. Ning Cheng's face sank. Get out of the way, otherwise don't blame me for taking action. The monk quickly cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng. Dao friend, presumably you and this junior apprentice sister are also friends, right? I know what you're thinking. This junior apprentice sister has such a beautiful face that even sage Buddha Chu Pu might be moved by it. Once sage Buddha is moved, even Dao friend's future would be limitless. Originally, Ning Cheng planned to kick this monk away. A small Shurtong Buddhist kingdom couldn't do anything to him. However, after hearing sage Buddha Chu Pu's message, he didn't immediately take action. Seeing Ning Cheng's face turn ugly and not showing any intention of taking action, the monk seized the opportunity and said, "You too should have come to my Shurtong Buddhist kingdom not too long ago, right? Many years ago, a woman appeared in my Western universe and gained the favor of sage Buddha. Now, she's the #1 person under sage Buddha. What's that woman's name?" Ning Cheng suddenly asked. The monk cupped his fists towards the Western universe and said with a respectful expression, "She is now my Western universe's sage Venerable Cherry Blossom." Ning Cheng's heart skipped a beat. It really took a lot of effort. He was sure that sage Venerable Cherry Blossom was Zhu Yinghua, but he didn't expect this woman to curry favor with sage Buddha Chu Pu. This woman really knew how to run a business, or rather, use her capital to run a business. The men she curried favor with were each stronger than the last. At the same time, he felt deeply worried about Sung Wei. Zhu Yinghua had curried favor with sage Buddha, so it would be strange if Tsang Wei ended up well. How did sage Buddha see sage Venerable Cherry Blossom? Ning Cheng asked again. The robust monk spoke up proudly. At that time, that woman suddenly came to our Shurtong Buddhist kingdom and happened to meet Venerable Joy, who was passing by. Venerable Joy brought her back, and only then did sage Buddha see her. Was she alone? Ning Cheng quickly asked. What alone? The robust monk didn't understand what Ning Cheng wanted to ask. Ning Cheng had to speak up directly. Did that woman come to the Shurtong Buddhist kingdom alone, or did she come with us? The robust monk shook his head. I'm not very clear about this. I only know that this junior apprentice sister's appearance is comparable to sage Venerable Cherry Blossom. As long as sage Buddha took a fancy to her, her future would be limitless. It's not impossible for her to become another sage venerable. Ning Cheng knew that he couldn't get anything out of this monk's mouth. In any case, this monk only spoke about hearsay. Since Venerable Joy brought Zhu Yinghua to sage Buddha, then the first person he wanted to find was Venerable Joy. Okay, I understand. You can step aside. Ning Cheng waved his hand at the robust monk, and a powerful Dao charm aura swept the robust monk aside. The robust monk could only watch Ning Cheng and Yu Qing walk past him in silence and didn't dare to chase after them. How could someone give up such a good opportunity to him? As long as that man introduced the woman next to him to Venerable Joy, it would be a great fortune for him. Two friends, if you don't want to be targeted by Venerable Joy, you should leave now. It's best to leave the Western universe. If you hesitate a little longer, with this junior apprentice sister's appearance, I guess it would be difficult for her to leave this place. A cultivator dressed as a wanderer walked past Ning Cheng and Yu Qing and spoke up casually. Thank you, elder brother. When Yu Qing fell in love with Ning Cheng was a wanderer at that time. Ning Cheng suddenly asked, does the Western universe plunder all kinds of women for cultivation? Even sage Buddha Chu Pu does the same. The wanderer showed a slight smile. Of course not. Only Venerable Joy, the second venerable under the Buddha, likes to dual cultivate with women. The seventh venerable under the Buddha, Venerable Ji Zhan, hates those who use women for dual cultivation the most. He believes that true love between a man and a woman is joy, not dual cultivation. The third venerable, Lu Mo, hates evil. As long as he knows about any injustice, he will definitely take care of it to the end. He also hates using women for dual cultivation to increase his cultivation. Didn't I hear that there's also a Venerable Saison? By the way, there's also a fat guy. It was rare for someone to know about the venerables under sage Buddha Chu Pu, so Ning Cheng quickly asked. The wanderer showed a trace of disdain. You're talking about the fourth and sixth venerable, right? Among the 9 venerables under the sage Buddha, these 2 are the most useless. The 2 of them look for women to learn from Venerable Joy. In fact, they don't have the breadth and ability of Venerable Joy at all. They just show off their beautiful women and then use them as cultivation vessels. I just heard that the sage Buddha favors a venerable named Cherry Blossom. Have you heard of this venerable Cherry Blossom? Ning Cheng had only casually inquired about the Western Buddha Lord's information. His main purpose was to find out Sung Wei's whereabouts. The wanderer nodded slightly. I've heard about it. The Buddha Lord favors that venerable Cherry Blossom, but it's different from Venerable Joy. It should be that Venerable Cherry Blossom truly has a Buddha nature and good perception. That's why the Buddha Lord favors her. Friend, do you know if Venerable Cherry Blossom came here with a few people or just alone? If you want to see that Venerable Joy, what should you do? When the wanderer heard Ning Cheng's question, his face turned a little ugly, and he stared at Ning Cheng fiercely. If you want to give your friend to Venerable Joy, it's better to go directly to the Great Hall of Desire. You're looking for the wrong person. After saying this, the wanderer glanced behind Ning Cheng, sped up his pace, and quickly turned into a fork. Ning Cheng understood that this fellow thought that he wanted to send Yu Qing to Venerable Joy to seek advancement. A few powerhouses have arrived. Yu Qing reminded Ning Cheng. Even without Yu Qing's reminder, Ning Cheng had also seen several people coming over, and the one in the lead had even reached Dao integration. With such a cultivation level, not to mention in front of Ning Cheng, it wasn't even enough for Yu Qing. Fellow Taoists, our Lord invites you. The man in the lead walked up to Ning Cheng and spoke in a careless tone. He couldn't see through Ning Cheng's strength at all. Lead the way. Ning Cheng originally wanted to find Venerable Joy by himself, but after thinking about it, he felt that it would be easier to go through the Lord of Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom. Chapter 1504. The man at the Dao integration realm froze slightly when he heard Ning Cheng's words. Then, he nodded. Yes, come with me. With your contributions, it won't be difficult for you to reach the second step even if you obtain some opportunities. He understood Ning Cheng's thoughts and felt that Ning Cheng's choice was the best. If Ning Cheng could bring Yu Qing to meet Huanxi Venerate alone, he would naturally gain Huanxi Venerate's favor. However, since such an opportunity had appeared in the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom, the main credit would not go to Ning Cheng, but to the Lord of the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom. Ning Cheng's choice not only saved his life but also benefited him. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing were third-step experts, and their Dao runes had already formed their own nomological aura. Even late-stage Dao integration realm experts would find it difficult to see Ning Cheng and Yu Qing's true realm, let alone someone who had just entered the Dao integration realm. In the eyes of the Dao integration realm man, they were first-step experts. Daoist friend, I've long heard of Huanxi Venerate's name. May I know which star continent he lives in? Ning Cheng asked casually. The Dao integration realm man snorted. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. With your realm, what can you do even if you know? Can you see Huanxi Venerate? Ning Cheng smiled faintly and didn't speak any nonsense. Even if he wanted to make a move, he had to first find out about Sung Wei's movements. Moreover, he couldn't alert the enemy before doing so. If it weren't for Sung Wei, Ning Cheng would have already taken out the Lord of the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom and fought him directly. In just one incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng and Yu Qing were taken to a gold-plated palace. The Divine Magus Palace was one of the 3 supreme treasures of the Witch clan, but compared to the palace in the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom, it was like a straw shed. The entire palace was wrapped in extremely cold gold, and Buddha statues stood on both sides of the palace. Several thick incense sticks were burning, and a rich Buddhist aura permeated the palace. A man in a Buddhist robe sat at the top of the palace. He had a square face and a golden mask, and the aura of an expert could be seen at a glance. Daoist friends, your cultivation. The man in the Buddhist robe stood up when he saw Ning Cheng and Yu Qing. Unlike the Dao integration realm man, he could tell that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing weren't simple. He was not sure about Ning Cheng's strength, but he knew that Yu Qing was definitely not any weaker than him. Ning Qing did not expect that a Buddhist country's sovereign would have already stepped into the third step. Even if it was a pseudo-world, it was still not a simple feat. After feeling the formidable strength of Ning Cheng and Yu Qing, the monarch wearing a Buddhist robe realized that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing had not come because they feared him, the monarch, but because of something else. He then walked down, cupped his fists and said, "May I know your names?" Ning Cheng also cupped his fists and spoke, "The king can directly address me as Ning Cheng. I passed by Shirtong Buddhist kingdom and felt that the Buddhist Tao here is flourishing, so I came to pay a visit." Seeing that Ning Cheng didn't introduce Yu Qing, the king felt even more certain that Ning Cheng's strength was above Yu Qing's. "Dao friend Ning is too polite. My Shirtong Buddhist kingdom is not eye-catching among the Buddhist kingdoms of the West. To be able to obtain fellow Daoist Ning's favor is truly a joyous matter. If fellow Daoist Ning doesn't mind, then you can just call me Xia." In any place, the strong were respected. If Ning Cheng and Yu Qing truly hadn't taken the second step, then the king of Shirtong Buddhist kingdom would at most meet Yu Qing. If Yu Qing truly was a good person, then he would give Ning Cheng some benefits and take Yu Qing away. But now that Ning Cheng's strength was so strong that he couldn't even see through it, how could he dare to mention anything about Yu Qing? Even if Ning Cheng wanted to take Yu Qing to visit revered Joy, it would have nothing to do with him. Since the two Dao friends have come from afar, why don't we go to the guest hall together? I'm sorry for neglecting you here. Xia spoke these words to make friends with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng smiled, "Many thanks, Dao friend Xia." Ning Cheng naturally wouldn't refuse the invitation of Shirtong Buddhist kingdom's king. Xia brought Ning Cheng and Yu Qing to the guest hall and personally accompanied them. Compared to the Shirtong Buddhist kingdom's palace, which was built entirely out of supreme mellow metal, this guest hall was truly low-key. It didn't have any Buddhist charm lingering around it, nor did it have any kind of aura of the power of hope. It was just an ordinary place for receiving guests. The guests who come here are all my, Xia's, best friends. After Xia invited Ning Cheng and Yu Qing to sit down, he took the initiative to fill their cups with spiritual tea. Ning Cheng could tell that this was not the only guest hall of Shirtong Buddhist kingdom's king. The reason why this king brought him and Yu Qing here was that he truly wanted to make friends with them. From the looks of it, this king couldn't see through his strength and wanted to make friends with him. Ning Cheng didn't refuse this invitation. This was the first time he had contact with Shirtong Buddhist kingdom's king, and he didn't find this person annoying. What's more, he still had a lot of things to ask this king. "Since we can sit here, we are naturally friends. I came to visit the king specifically because I have a few things to ask." Ning Cheng picked up the teacup and took a sip, implying that he wanted to make friends with Xia. Xia felt overjoyed and also picked up the teacup and took a sip before saying, "Brother Ning, if you have something to ask, just say it. As long as I can help, I will definitely help." Just as Ning Cheng saw him as someone worth making friends with, he also felt that Ning Cheng was someone worth making friends with. Although he had great strength, he wasn't arrogant. Shirtong Buddhist kingdom lacked such powerful friends the most. Moreover, Ning Cheng didn't seem to belong to the Buddhist Tao. If he could lead Ning Cheng into the Buddhist Tao, it would be even more joyous. "I heard that the Holy Buddha has a new venerable cherry blossom?" Ning Cheng asked directly. Xia subconsciously glanced at Yu Qing and roughly understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Ning Cheng wanted to take this woman directly to see the Holy Buddha and become the next venerable cherry blossom. Indeed, meeting the Holy Buddha directly was much better than meeting Venerable Joy. In Xia's heart, this woman was even better than Venerable Cherry Blossom. It's just that the Holy Buddha was different from Venerable Joy. Venerable Cherry Blossom didn't become a venerable under the Holy Buddha because of her beauty. Dao friend Ning, Venerable Cherry Blossom was originally from the Five Elements universe. She came to my Western universe for only tens of thousands of years and became a venerable by virtue of her qualifications and her understanding of the Buddhist Tao. Even in my Western universe, there aren't many of them. In the whirling great world, venerables have a higher status than venerables. Ning Cheng understood Xia's words. That is, Venerable Cherry Blossom didn't just rely on her looks, but also on her qualifications and her understanding of the Buddhist Tao. Ning Cheng was even more satisfied with Shiya's words. This meant that Shiya sincerely wanted to befriend him. Otherwise, he would have definitely said that Yu Qing's beauty would definitely attract the Holy Buddha's attention. At the same time, Ning Cheng also remembered the whirling Great World. This place should be the world where Holy Buddha Chu Pu lived. So that's how it is. Did Venerable Cherry Blossom come to the Western universe alone? This was what Ning Cheng wanted to ask the most. Shiya didn't think too much about it. I heard that Venerable Cherry Blossom came here to kill someone. At that time, Venerable Cherry Blossom chased him to the outside of my Shirtong Buddhist kingdom and happened to see Venerable Joy passing by. He stopped Venerable Cherry Blossom and persuaded her to put down her butcher knife and become a Buddha. Yu Qing couldn't help but say, I think Venerable Joy took a fancy to that woman and wanted to scheme against her. She didn't believe that a monk who plundered all the women in the world would have such a good heart. Shiya frowned slightly. Venerable Joy's joyous Buddha Tao was a branch of the Buddhist Tao. What did this have to do with schemes? As a woman, who wouldn't want to comprehend the joyous Buddha Tao with Venerable Joy? However, he didn't explain anything and continued, Venerable Cherry Blossom was extremely disdainful at that time and lost to Venerable Joy in a fight. In the end, she was willing to follow Venerable Joy to the whirling Great World to cultivate the Buddhist Dharma. After Venerable Cherry Blossom went to the whirling Great World, the Holy Buddha took a fancy to her, taught her the Great Tao, and became a Venerable. Ning Cheng thought that Sung Wei had been trapped by Venerable Joy under Zhu Yinghua's request. Ning Cheng didn't expect Sung Wei to be saved by Venerable Joy. Since Venerable Joy could stop Zhu Yinghua, he must be very strong. Dao friend Shiya, how is the person Venerable Cherry Blossom was chasing? Ning Cheng knew that once he asked about Sung Wei's whereabouts, Shiya would definitely suspect him, but he had to ask. Are the two Dao friends of that person? Sure enough, as soon as Ning Cheng asked, West Asia asked with suspicion.